The sun is out in Brisbane for a high-stakes Sunday. The Lions back to the comforts of home after squandering a 7-goal lead at the home of football last week to the Tigers. More questions about their claims to break a premiership drought or just a blip in the radar as Fagan's men try and set their sights on righting the wrongs of the previous 3 finals campaigns. They'll probably get there. Will Carlton get there? Well, probably. Maybe. But what can we bank on in this 2022 season? Certainly Blues fans didn't bank on a loss to the Adelaide Crows in the City of Churches last week, which continues this tick-tacking of win-loss for Carlton. As the round started, both teams were in the bottom portion of the 8. They are there as we speak. And, of course, this wonderful season of football continues to delight us and twist and turn the narratives throughout the afternoon. My name's Quentin Hull. Fantastic that you can join us here on ABC Sport on what is just a terrific afternoon for football. Expecting around 32,000 fans. It's officially a sellout, so that's general admission tickets. So just depending on how many of the members turn up today, I don't think we'll get to the extremities of the high 30,000s, which is the actual capacity. But speaking to the attendance, looks like it's going to be a big house. You can't get a general admission or reserved seat. The Blues are in town. The Lions are looking for another September campaign. And people are talking footy in the Queensland capital on this Sunday afternoon. Wonderful to be joined by Michael Price to call the action. Pricey, I was musing on the way in. I think this is probably the biggest home and away game at this venue since Geelong came late in the 2019 season.
Yeah.
And the scenes on that day resonating particularly around Lincoln McCarthy late in the game as the Lions somewhat surprised everyone with that trip to the top 2 in 2019. But, of course, that set in path a storyline which is yet to gain its ultimate fulfilment. Only disappointment to this point of 3 finals campaigns.
It is one of those games where you just sit back and think we are lucky to be here. The conditions are perfect. Red Sharon on a Sunday afternoon. It will be fantastic. Or be yellow still.
Yeah, it gets a bit late.
Oh, it gets a bit late in the afternoon. Never mind, we still have the high marking possibilities at either end of the ground. Some great contested footy exponents in the middle of the ground. I'm just looking forward to seeing a very tight contest between 2 teams. It's a cliche. They both cannot afford to lose.
And wonderful to have 2 of the keenest minds in the game to join us to talk through it all, enjoy it all, break it down for you. Former big man from the Roy Boys and the Power, and of course former coach of Port Adelaide, Matthew Primus. Lovely to have you alongside the 2001 Brownlow medalist Jason Ackermanis. Gentlemen, it is lovely to have your company on this Sunday at the football. It's always a pleasure to be at the footy, but it feels like a big game day.
It certainly does, Q. Brisbane have got a fair bit riding on it to keep in touch with the top 4. While the Blues, they win this, they probably cement their top 8 credentials, because if they lose this, they've got a tough couple of weeks after that. And walking in the ground, great to see when one of the big Victorian clubs come up here. You see the atmosphere and the fans decked out in their navy blue, and see Pricey and Q in their navy blue too. Acker, it's going to be a great afternoon.
I cannot believe how many Carlton fans there actually are. Where do they live? Under what rock? I don't know, but they are out here and about. I think it's got something to do with all the Victorians moving up, however. That's probably the real reason, because it's never usually this full when we played against Carlton back in my day. But the Lions, after last week, second half, oh my goodness, they would have gone through that tape with a fine-tooth comb and said, boys, I think we can do a bit better here. And you know, Carlton have been interesting because they started so well. They've been pretty consistent. It's not the end of the world to lose to Adelaide and Adelaide. They're a good side at home. People forget that. Just because they're lowly ranked doesn't mean that they can't play. They're a good team at home. But that said, I want to see today, can Brisbane get that pace they need around the ball? I see Zach Bailey's in now. Most of us thought he'd be out for a couple of weeks with those ribs. I think he'll wear a protected. You've got a vest you can wear. I'm pretty sure he's going to wear that today. But he's starting on the bench. And then can we see? I'm really concerned about the Carlton midfield. They are one pace. They're very good, but they're one pace. They don't have the speed where the Lions have the speed in the midfield, but not enough speed in the back line, Matty.
Well, hopefully they inject that speed, Brisbane do, because they can be a bit one pace. You know, when they've had their losses, their midfield's been a bit one pace. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how that battle goes, because both teams are potent at both both ends of the ground with their key forwards and their smalls. Jack Martin coming in, so it should be an outstanding contest in there. And which team, as you say, Carlton have been up and down, and their record queue isn't great at the Gabba, is it? The Blue Baggers?
No, it's not great. They did win back in round 9 of 2013.
2013.
That was the last time that Carlton won
9 years ago
in Brisbane. So the Lions have won their last 6 at the Gabba. They did play once last year. That was at Docklands in round 6, where Brisbane won by 3 goals. So, there's some interesting history of Brisbane v Carlton on a Sunday here. Most notably, that not the most recent Sunday that Carlton played Brisbane here, but 2 back. Bloke by the name of Jay Brown kicked 10 goals. Happened to be the last day that Dee Pagan coached Carlton.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
That'll finish it
10
off.
goals will do it to you.
Yeah. So they've been and one of the only finals the only final that Brisbane played under Michael Voss that they won.
That's right.
Was here against Carlton.
Wasn't that a late kick from Daniel Bradshaw?
Yes, in the left forward pocket at the school end after the Blues were about 5 goals in front early in that final term. So there is a bit of history between these two. And speaking of that nostalgic path, you know who we're going to chat to in a moment, Akka?
Who's that?
Your old captain.
My great mate. I've known him for...
The coach of the Navy Blues, the man who the new Brisbane Lions oval is named after.
Yes, a bit unlucky for myself not getting named after that bloke. He's a bit flat as well.
So Michael Voss is going to join us in the pre-game in just a moment, and we'll also go inside the Lions rooms with Noah Answorth, who I had a chat to a short time ago, just to take us through a modern-day footballer's preparation. What do they do before they go out there and play footy?
Fair bit going on. We're surrounded by Brizzy everywhere, Q. Lee next door to us. We've got Blackie the other side of us, Akka here, and about to talk to Vossi.
Yeah, I think Richard Cheby's in there as well. A great fullback, esteemed fullback with only missing a rectus femoris these days. But he actually, did you know he snapped it and rolled all the way up and he never got it reattached.
That's the part of his leg you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the rectus femoris, the main quad muscle that goes down the middle. His is wound all the way up, sits up near his hip.
Well, I cast my binoculars out to the unmissable pink shorts of our boundary rider, Zane Bojack. He's always great to pick up in the crowd, and he's just attaching the headphones and the microphone to the Blues coach. He's giving me a wave. A welcome to you, Zane, and your special guest.
Yeah, I'm down here on the boundary line with a guy who, well, to be honest, the last time you were here, it was actually a win against the Saints, and I think Dane Zorko kicked a goal, and this is when you're a head coach, I should say. You're not the last time you were here as a Port Adelaide assistant. 3 goals for Daniel Rich. You won that day. You're gonna do it again here today, Michael Voss, as the Carlton coach?
You got a better memory than me. How long ago was that?
2013.
2013.
I think it was about round 19, right. 2013.
There you go. Oh, well, I'll take it. But obviously we'd like to take this one today a little bit more at this particular stage. But no, it's going to be a fierce contest. I mean, it's fantastic that the game's been sold out. We haven't lacked playing in front of crowds this year. We've got a very large supporter base that have been following us around, which is just fantastic. So we'll feed off that energy today.
What's it been like for you this week in the lead-up, knowing that you're coming back here as a head coach? And let's be honest, you did leave here in fairly acrimonious circumstances.
Long time ago. In some ways, you feel like you lose some of your reference back to here. Because it's such a long time ago and you're so emotionally invested in what you're doing now, certainly firstly at Port Adelaide and now at Carlton. So I don't give it too much thought, to be truthfully honest. It's, who's the opposition, what threats do they have, how do we take them away, and just how do we maximise our opportunities as best we possibly can by the way we play. So that's where our planning's been. The environment where we play, really shouldn't change our approach on that.
My last question before we go up to the panel is, after last week's loss, did you have to motivate the playing group, or is it just simply a case of you just get them out here on the field and try to put last week out of the minds as quickly as possible?
I think it's a bit easier when you have more reference points through the year where you feel like you've played the brand of footy that you're after. We let ourselves down last week. We're pretty clear on that. We had a review that surrounded, I guess, the lack of effort to outnumber after contest, and we really got cleaned up in that area. So, we're looking for a response in that. You can't start a game without, the contested ball numbers going that way. Your just system struggles to get up and going. So, if obviously Brisbane are able to bring that sort of number to us today, well, just flat we won't win. So we'll have to find another way, which will be extremely difficult.
All right, well, Michael, we've got your former teammate Jason Ackermanis up in the box, along with Matthew Primus and also Quentin Hull and Michael Price.
Got to let Acker go.
Certainly do. Hello,
Brother. Hello, brother.
Man, it's been a crazy year. I mean, the last couple of weeks and early in the season, it's sort of been this inconsistent Carlton that I know you don't want. My question is, can you put something that is just standing out besides contested gets? Because your midfield has got so many stars, but they're a little bit one-paced, and your four line's so potent. What are your thoughts going into today with that? Just that up and down with Carlton so far.
Well, I think if we looked at outcomes, it'd suggest that we're up and down. I'll probably have a different view because we focus a lot on the process and the system that we're trying to play, and we've relatively been fairly consistent at that. We just let ourselves down last week, which can really sort of cloud our view and make it a little foggy. But if we sort of work our way through that, I think previously we've been in some pretty good form, and we've played against some pretty amazing opposition as well. So we have to tip our hat to that. Losing sides like Geelong and Collingwood have proven that they're right up there in that top four equation. So I'm just looking to replicate that, Acker. I mean, we were second in, I think, contested possession coming into that game last week. So we've been consistent at that. What we need to be able to make sure that we get done is, under pressure, how do we absorb it? How do we still stick to our style of play, even if the scoreboard's against us and if the crowd's in full roar? So that's still the challenge that we have to go after a little bit harder.
Are you going to tag today? I mean, are you going to shut down one of the Lions midfielders, whether it's Lockie Neal, whether it's, well, you can take your pick really, but are you going to close anyone down, or are you just going to go head to head?
No declarations of yet. Won't
Just
go
tell them,
far.
mate, no one's listening, Mike.
That's a problem.
I get along with you, Jason, but not that well just yet. All right, so not when you're in the media box. But no, we'll obviously pay some attention to some of their prime movers. We have to. They obviously generate their style and their energy, so we have to be really mindful of that. But we're all going to have to take some responsibilities at times. I'll just leave it at that for now.
Oh yes.
I want to get the big ruckman to talk through your rucking quandary, Vossi. Matty?
Yeah, well, obviously with Pitney out, which is unfortunate for you guys. Tell us a little bit about your young ruckman, mate, who's taken the competition by storm this year.
Yeah, Tom has been brilliant. In fact, with Pitto being out, he's had to take on an enormous amount of responsibility, and certainly early days, he's certainly the competitive nature or being able to be the battled hardened ruckman. In the first 4 to 6 weeks, he was just getting a little bit tired throughout the games. But yeah, certainly in the last 6 or 7 weeks, he's brought that level of consistency and competitive ability. And we've missed having Pitto. I mean, we'd love to have him in the team, but this young lad just keeps stepping up and he's taken on the responsibilities. The centre square bounce should suit him here today, hopefully. Yep. And he also gets his hands dirty on the floor, which is what we like.
How's the emotional energy of your group, Michael?
No, excited. And, like the one thing that I guess on the outside is that, we feel, I guess, the tension that people and their supporters that want us to do well. And we want to do well, of course, as well, to be able to, finish where we think we deserve. But it's not given to us. I mean, we've got some big opposition to play against that starts today. It's we're going to have to get a lot right to walk away with a win, but the boys are up for it.
And your game plan, I just love when you do take the game on. You play on quickly, but particularly in the front half. Are we going to see Carlton come through the corridor? I mean, we want to see them play this aggressive, awesome style of game where you can get it in one-on-one. And I think you play your best footy when you do that. Is that what you're trying and instill in the players, even though the game plan could say, well, we could play a couple of paces here and there, but I think you look a lot better when you do that.
Yeah, that's a fair call. I don't think we really prescribe the area of the ground that we'd like to move through, but we certainly do like to take the opportunities of what the opposition give us. We've gone to work hard on the different styles that we can go to. We just like to take them a little bit quicker, keep that ball in motion, challenge the opposition and move them, shift them around. Brisbane obviously like to play a little bit more one-on-one, so they'll try and take some of that offers, but when the opportunities present, that's where the opportunities lie for us to score.
And what was the toughest call at selection this week, Michael?
Oh, toughest call. That's a really good question. I don't really have one in particular for you. I think for us, it's really backing in what we need to be able to do and the way we play and the boys that are there. So, it's about installing belief in what these guys have done. It's a fair bit of body of work that they've completed since October. So it's been a fair journey.
Yeah, could Pitnet have played at a push?
He was sick early in the week.
Yeah.
So he's and just given his interrupted lead up to the games that he did play, we just felt like it was a little unfair to try and ask him to continually go out there and be improvised in some way. So he was crook early in the week, and we've got a fit, healthy body out there with the King. So we'll go with him, and not the Jason King.
I've got one from left field for you, Vossi, just because you could respond to this as a coach, as a dad, as a mate. What was your reaction to Will Ashcroft's news this week?
I'd be lying to say if I was somewhat emotionally invested in that. I mean, good for Brisbane. I don't have a real thought on it at all.
Is it Chopper's boys done well, or you wish you... I wish that could have happened to Casey, or all those types of things. As a Carlton coach, you think, gee, I wish he had nominated us.
I think you're digging a little further than what I even really think about. So I'm more worried about winning this week than any other thing possible. But no, I wish, obviously past teammate, clearly a past premiership player, and seeing the boys do well and the kids do well is brilliant. The fact that the father-son's out there shouldn't go away, and the fact he's been able to come through, he's obviously clearly going to be an outstanding player, but he's not helping Carlton, so you'll have to forgive me if I don't really mind that much.
No, in all seriousness, I just thought I'd bring that up because it's the first of your group, really, that are coming through now, Akka.
There's a few.
In that regard.
Vossi's boy was a lot older as well. There's been a few. Bradshaw's got a few older kids, but
Jasper Fletcher's coming through the ranks this year, with obviously playing with Fletch and
young Jono as well.
I must say, it's I guess when you ask the question, you start to reflect when you sort of start to see these kids that were running around after our wins, and they're punching each other up in the kick room, and coming out in tears, and they all grow up together, and that's part of building a great football team is spending the time in the games together. And I was very lucky that I was part of an outstanding group. We grew up together, got married and had kids, and now to see those kids come through and do really well, I mean, it is pleasing to see.
Well, I knew we couldn't get down the nostalgic route with the former coach, so I used the children to get a bit of that nostalgia from you.
Well, you got me in the end, so you did a good job.
Always nice to see you back here, Michael. Good luck today.
No worries. Bye.
The Carlton coach, who has an indelible link and mark in football in this part of the world.
Do not think for a second that this is the first time he's coached against the team that sacked him. Don't think for a second he's not up and about. He's ready to go. Don't worry about being assistant coach. Now you're a head coach. At the Gabba, your team against theirs, great list. He's going to be. He will want to win this more than any other game.
I've heard Michael Voss described as one of the most competitive people that a particular sports person has ever met. Would you put him in that category?
I don't think so. He is competitive, but he's just good. But I play with lots of competitive guys. I play with a guy called Stephen Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
There's something wrong with that guy. He's competitive.
Former Hawthorn as well.
St Kilda. No, Stephen.
Oh, no, sorry.
The other Stephen.
Other Stephen, yes, sorry.
Son of Stephen Lawrence.
Yes.
Son of Barry. Yeah. So he was, I'm talking ping pong, out on, you're drinking with him, anything. He was way more competitive. In fact, one day, Michael Voss is driving behind Stephen Lawrence going down the coast, and they're starting to go forward. There's a race going on. Next minute, out of the sunroof comes a golf ball from Stevie Lawrence, and I think that's when Vossi said, this is getting out of hand. That's the kind of competitiveness. So when you ask if Vossi's competitive, I say yes, absolutely. But there was blokes, even he went, no, that's too much.
There are no changes to the teams here, by the way. Mitch Robinson is the Medi sub for Brisbane and Corey Durden for Carlton. So that means at selection, those changes are Rich and Starcevic in for Brisbane. Rich coming back from concussion. Starcevic was laid out last Sunday due to a quad complaint. So Darcy Fort, who actually played for Zach Bailey, he's an out. He's not even the sub today. And they've got two others with Nakia Cockatoo and Mitch Robinson.
He's a bad matchup.
Both dropped. And the Blues, Caleb Marchbank, we get another chance to finally see him play football, having made his comeback against Essendon in that celebration game for the Bombers, which the Blues won back on the Friday night earlier in the season. So he's back in for just his second game since round 16 of 2019. Jack Nunes, Jack Martin and Paddy Dow coming in, and Jack Silvani, who was the sub who played last week. So you put him in that bracket of, somewhat into the 22, having been 23rd man last week. Kennedy out concussed. Durden, who's managing a shoulder injury, but is the Medi-sub here. Pitternet, as we heard Michael Voss talk about, and Lockie Plowman, who's been dropped. Before we continue the chat here, we need to get back to the score from Docklands because the second half is underway between North Melbourne and Sydney. Aaron Bryant.
Q North are coming at the Docklands. The Swans' halftime margin of 27 down to 15. The Roos have kicked 3 of the last 4 goals, including a running finish from 55 from Aaron Hall. So 12 minutes into the third, the Swans are 9-12-66 leading North Melbourne 8-3-51. Nick Larkey, what an afternoon he has had for the Roos, just basically carrying them on his back. He's got 5 goals from 8 disposals, are the best for the Swans. Tom Papley, Sam Reid with 2 apiece, but the margin at 15 at the moment. Q?
Thanks, Aaron. If you do want to hear that game, a call is available by the AFL app. Just look for the ABC worm. Matthew and Jason, a chance for you two just to give us a little bit more of an insight. We regularly talk in our own broadcast footprint. Not as often we get to hear your thoughts to the broader audience around these two clubs. And in particular, Jace, I think I'll just start with you. And your initial assessment, big, large or otherwise, around what happened at the MCG for Brisbane last Sunday.
Well, I mean, the Tigers did improve, but there's no doubt that the boys not getting their hands on the ball. I mean, you've got late in the game. I don't think it's the end of the world. Richmond are a tough team at the MCG. Don't make any bones about that. They're a good team. They had a great win last night against Port. Like, they're no mugs. And, you know, we still have a chance. Mitch Robertson misses a sitter. Absolute soda.
This is the chance where you get to do the wee before we put the neutral hat on.
I think in the end, he would have been so disappointed. It's not more about the defensive side of Brisbane than the offense. Everything else, that first half, you're creaming them, you're up by 7, 8, you've got 9 goals. It doesn't matter. They're just playing great footy. To have a whole half go so bad, nearly everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. But all credit to the opposition. And now the Lions have lost a bunch of games against good opposition by not lots. I'm not that worried. And playing at the MCG, they would have been up and about. They love playing the MCG. Every time you used to go there, Matty, we used to go there. It's all about, we're playing the MCG. The grand final's now back there. I just think they'd be walking away so disappointed. I have a feeling they're going to start pretty hard and tough this first quarter. That'd be my assessment.
Matthew, we've seen a lot of Brisbane. I was thinking last Sunday, there was a fair bit of response, as there always is, for a week of footy. But what Brisbane's got to prove is not going to be this week, last week, or in the next couple of weeks. It's going to start in a couple of weeks' time. So it's interesting. How did the coach, in part of Chris Fagan, realise that this is a lost opportunity? But really, the season's going to depend on whether or not we win a final or 2 or 3.
Well, that's all it's about, and I reckon that would be what's driving. And we've spoken a bit about Fags. He's been a bit antsy the last month or 6 weeks or so, a little bit. And I reckon it's purely because they're a little bit off. They're not right off. Otherwise, they'd be well down the ladder on the 8. But they're just a little bit off, and it's exposing their defence, which is I think they've been the worst defence the last month.
Do the same problems keep coming up though?
Yes.
And what are they?
Well, the same issues with guys go missing, and their game style teams pull it apart. So they beat their midfield. You beat Brisbane's midfield, and while that's right with some teams, Brisbane rely on that to cover their defence, and they rely on that to kick a huge score if they're going to dominate. Their midfield need to dominate, not just win. And against the first half against Richmond, they dominated. Then they got dominated, and that's where the scoreboard just leaked for them. So they'd be looking for, last year, the year before, they were a dominant midfield team, and teams found it really hard to score against. At the moment, they're scoring at will. And hearing Vossi talk about, hey, they play one-on-one, we want to change angles and see if we can catch guys out, that's the exciting thing to look for. And that's what's been their Achilles heel the last month. So Fags will be going, I'm not sure he can make too many changes. We need to get our style of play a hell of a lot better, and there's too many players that are well off at the moment. Well,
there's the DNA of the way Brisbane play, and the question is, Matt and Akka, do we keep seeing the stuff that has failed them previously? Is there a 2-month window for Brisbane to get it right for 2022, Jace?
I don't think
I just said, remember last time I was saying, he's got to throw the magnets around a bit more. He's got to find players who can surprise
suggestions.
The coach. Yeah, so for instance, Lockie Neal was getting well tagged against Essendon. Get him forward, get him out of there. It was doing nothing to the Brisbane midfield at that stage. It was a 0-all, and most of the day, I actually thought his opponent, Neal, and Caldwell was doing such a good job. Get him out of there, make him go down into the defence, go on Lockie Neal. That's what I'm talking about. Get Zach Bailey in, get Rayner in, let Rayner spend some more time in there, because if he can become the star midfielder and build his engine, you could do that in the next month and go into finals, and he can just wipe the floor with opposition. He's big and strong. Little things like that. He's just not experimenting or going to throw it, caution to the wind.
I think Jared Lyons is a question mark too. His month has been well down on what he is, and I'm a big fan of JL, but his month has been well down. So they'd be looking for a lift from him. Otherwise, find someone else to, because Matheson's play similar to him. And I'd love them to play quicker in their back half, Q. I reckon they play slow. That's the way they stop themselves being scored against by kick mark. I'd like them to take the game on more, like a Collingwood do, like a Melbourne do, those sorts of teams. Try and do that a little bit more, because I reckon that'll bring them undone if their contested ball's not good.
We'll get to the Blues in a moment, but I want to get your coaching hats on. We saw the experience that Essendon fans know so well and Brisbane fans are getting to know with Danaher starting hot and then going missing. How do you fix it if you're in the what can you do in the coaching box to try and fix that?
I didn't see too much of last week's game, but for me it'd be, rightio Joe, if you're gone off, don't play deep. Get up amongst the ground, get amongst it, throw him in the ruck for a 4-minute spell, all those sorts of things, because forward can be a great place when there's lots of supply, and it can be a lonely place when you've got either a great defender or you're off. So I'd be trying to keep him engaged, because he looks like, we've spoken to him a few times after games where he said mentally I just try and stay in the moment or the whole time. But obviously he struggles with staying in the game the whole time. So keep trying to get him involved. So whether he's up the ground more, as I said, throw him on the ruck, a little bit of wing, just something to keep him motivated, because you're right, he's a massive avenue for him when he's up and about. Brisbane's style of play certainly up and
I think if you watch him play, you watch how many times that the opposition quickly get it. If Brisbane's pressure's awesome, he's the first one out the back, ready to go, and he's already halfway there. And that's really what lets him down, because he's like, well, do I commit to this just getting up the ground and a bit more intensity? That's what he misses. But then again, you need someone to kick it to when you do get a turnover, and he's usually that guy. So it's a catch-22. If the Brisbane as a team is playing better, Joey will play better. If you expect him to be best tackler, don't get me wrong, if he makes tackles, 5 tackles a game, it's magnificent. But he's not really going to be the star that he actually is designed to do, because that's what they want him to do.
Q, there's no doubt their back line's going to stay the same in the finals. Their forward line will, because it's shown that it's in finals they've struggled a bit. But their midfield is what's costing them at the moment. There's too many guys out of form, and as Aka said, is it more Berry, is it more of Rayner, is it whatever it is, it has to be a change there, because that isn't working at the moment.
Which makes today absolutely fascinating as we lead into the Carlton discussion, because as we've seen, Michael Voss now has got an engine that can run just about as hot as, at its best, any of the midfields in the competition, yet the chassis around it is still taking shape to get full functionality regularly. So, what do we then look forward to today when we get to the coalface, Acker, and to those big men in the middle of the ground? Because we know that the clearance numbers aren't the be-all and end-all in modern football, but it's still the generation, particularly for what Carlton's best footy has been.
Well, especially for centre bounce. Vossi mentioned it. Brisbane need that to set up everything that what they do. So they've obviously identified that. They see how their young ruckman goes, because he's agile on the ground. Cripps, Walsh, those kind of guys. And I'm looking forward to see the runners they got there, because I picture Essendon here 3 or 4 weeks ago when they just got outside them, and then if they give their forwards enough supply with their 2 big hooers there, who certainly, what are they, first and third or something in the Coleman, or fourth, and Jack Martin back in, they're going to cause Brisbane's defence a lot of worries if they can dominate Brisbane's midfield as they were in the second half last week. So I reckon that's going to be a huge focus, and Vossi certainly sort of touched on that in a certain way.
And just in their midfield. So you look at Walsh, he's a star, wins his own ball, so does Cripps. Sarah's really good at doing both. Those 3 guys, though, the thing that they do lack is that pace. They're very good. They got great quick hands. A bit like Simon Black. Wasn't the quickest over the ground, could run all day, but his hands are good. And then on the outside where we've got Fisher, and you've got these guys who could sort of run on. I do like Martin if they can get him up the ground and get him in the ball. He's not as hard as they'd like. He is an experienced player now. And the other great conundrum for Carlton, I say this every week, is where on earth are they going to play Silvani? He got dropped. Now he's back in. He could do a lot of things Jack, and it's going to be interesting. Does he go forward? Does he spend any time in the midfield? Does he go back? He gives them a bit of versatility, but I'm always concerned that if it's a hot day here, that will affect Carlton's ability to get that second group in to try and actually do some damage to the Lions' second string.
And I reckon that's why they didn't play Pitane. As you mentioned, he'd been crook in the heat. May be too risky unless you use an agile guy who can run around the ground.
Well, and another Jack back in the team as well with Jack Martin.
Yes.
Perhaps, that third tall forward role. Yeah, you wonder what's going to happen there. So all of the intrigue as we continue to build up to Carlton here at the Gabba to take on the Brisbane Lions. But the third term at Docklands continues. In a moment, I'm going to take you into the Lions rooms. I had a chat to Noah Answorth just before they went in to get final prep. But let's get to Aaron Bryant with the latest between the Swans and the Roos.
Q Swans by 32, time on in the third, 12-12-84 to North's 8-4-52. They've kicked 3 straight goals through Lance Franklin, Isaac Heaney and Tom Papley. North have had opportunities, but they've just wasted them off turnover. The Swans reverting back to that keep-you-off, kick-mark style game. It seems to be working for them. Up to 32 points now after the margin at half-time was 27.
Good on you, Aaron. So as we get closer to the bounce down here, just a chance to take you inside the Lions rooms. I got to have a chat with Noah Answorth, the young man who continues to get his body right and play regular senior footy for Brisbane. I spoke to him a short time ago and started by talking about the joy of playing in front of a sold-out house on a Sunday afternoon at the Gabba and asking him how the build-up's been to today's game.
Yeah, it's been a good build-up. Obviously coming off a bad loss. We want to sort of resurrect ourselves this week, and big crowd and a sold-out crowd at the Gabba is a great way to get it done. Hopefully today.
Personally, how was your experience last Sunday?
Yeah, it was a poor one. I guess it's never good coming off a loss, especially when you're up by that much. But yeah, it was a lot of learning from it, I guess, for me and the group as well. So hopefully we can come together today as a unit and get a win.
So when you've been reflecting this week, personally, we know that the group's got to do its review, but when you're a young footy player going through those experiences, what are you now thinking, gee, didn't I learn this? This is something I didn't know about those big games and the pressure that perhaps you can take into even today.
Yeah, I guess it's all about moments, and there's moments in a game that are important, and coming into the third quarter, fourth quarter, there's a lot of work that goes in to understanding the game, I guess, and who you're playing on and your role. So you take a lot of confidence out of that, and hopefully you can learn from it and implement it like today.
Yeah, a lot of noise about what it meant for the club from external factors, but how much did you dwell on Sunday before moving forward this week? You have those reviews where it's we got to crack down and look at how it went wrong, or we put it in the past. So what kind of a review was it from Fakes?
I guess it's a bit balanced, coming in later in the year and you've got to crack down on your performance, but you also got to understand that you're coming in with only 3 games to go in the finals. So hopefully we can learn from it, which we did early in the week, and then we build in from there and try to get some good energy in the group and don't put it behind us, but learn from it, and hopefully we can use it today to give us some spark.
And last one on last week. So what's the one thing you take out of the experience from last Sunday?
I guess it's just playing at the G and the crowd behind them, and
it's a thing, is it?
Yeah. Oh, sometimes I don't really care, but when we're at the Gabba, it's obviously a great experience to play, and we love playing in front of our fans. So I guess it's just taking that to other places in Australia, I guess. There
is a familiarity about today, but an extra special feeling as well. Warmth of the sunshine.
Yeah, it's nice.
Big Melbourne club and a full Gabba.
Yeah, it's a great day, I guess, for footy, and it's a nice day, and hopefully, it's good for the crowd as well.
So, what's a match day look like for you, Noah Answorth? I mean, we hear about players having their own preparations. Your guys had to do a lot of rehab over your time. So, how much body time, or is this now you're happy with your body and this is getting the head right?
Nah, it never ends, I guess. You sort of got to keep yourself going. I got up early this morning, went for a walk with my girlfriend, 2 dogs. You sort of set the whole day up, well, I do personally, for today. So,
what time do you get up?
Around 7 before, if I have to, on game day.
So is your main meal quite early in the day today?
Yeah, early, yeah. I'll make a coffee at home and then go get one. And I'll get in here usually 20 to 30 minutes before we're meant to. I've already had my shoulder strapped. So I'm basically ready to go now, and I've got to do all my prep, obviously, for my groins in the past, and I have a lot of time in the week to get that done, but I'll make sure that I get it done today before the game as well.
And what about your fuel, as far as your hydration and so forth? It's a constant thing, but what are the key factors you hit for a 3 p.m. start?
Oh, I've got a bit of a system where I have a few hydrolytes, probably 3 or 4 over last night, and then coming into today, and I'm making sure I'm drinking water. I eat at certain times. I know it sounds a bit particular, but
so when did you eat today outside of your 2 coffees?
I wake up, eat, have a coffee straight away, go for a walk, have a coffee, and then maybe get a banana bread or something like that.
Yep.
And then I'll make sure I eat at least an hour and a half before I come. I get into bed before I play. I never have naps, but before I play, I got to. So
for night games
or day games, doesn't matter.
Really?
Yeah, same preparation every week. Yeah. Watch a little bit of a movie.
So this is
meditate for 10 minutes.
Early morning little nap this morning.
Yeah. Oh, not early. Probably about 12 o'clock. I got into bed. Yeah. And then I'm here.
Well, there you go. That's fantastic. Noah. So we'll be playing this as you guys are in the rooms ready to come out. Who are the voices? Tell us how the last 15 minutes goes before you run through that banner and out onto the ground.
Oh, it's obviously you guys like Mitch Robinson's always loud no matter what. Reece Matheson can get the boys up very easily. Guys that
well, you might have to rely on Matho today because Mitch isn't there.
Yeah, but even in the rooms and just around the group, he's really good. And even guys like Big O, even though he's quieter sort of in the public eye, when he's in the group, he's very loud and noticeable. And obviously captain Dane Zorko and guys like Harris Andrews are always chatting. And usually the more energy we have, the better we're going to be.
And when does Fake speak to you for the last time before you run out?
Oh, usually pretty late. He'll shake everyone's hand as we walk out and sort of wish us luck. And he's sort of talking the whole time, really. He's on the bench and he's always there, so... Sorry about the footy.
No, that's all right. It's good to be on the boundary and have this action around the place. Over the last couple of years, we haven't been able to get in arm's reach of each other, Noah.
Yeah, so Fakes has been good and he's always there for a chat.
Yeah. Look, every day that you play footy is a big day, but you've got a month to finals. You've got a bit to prove. You're back at home against a team who wants essentially to take your slot a little bit higher on the ladder. So what's your feeling about personally and the collective today for the team?
Yeah, it's obviously a big job to get done today, and we know what kind of team we're coming up against and what we have to do to win, and hopefully we can get that all done today.
Idea of a matchup for you?
Nah, not sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just go out there and help who I need and play on who I get.
Do you prefer a day game to a night game, by the way?
Oh, I don't really mind. I guess being lucky enough to play an AFL game, doesn't really bother me. I just love being able to play footy, and especially at this level. And yeah, I guess you don't really pick the time. That gets picked for you and you just show up and get it done.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
After a couple of coffees, a banana bread and a nap, you ready to go?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Noah Answorth, a bit of an insight there to the young man who I didn't say happy birthday to. It was his 23rd birthday yesterday, but a chance to give you a feel inside the Lions camp as they just emerge from the race. The Blues are out there as well. The sun is beating down and the sold out sign is out front. I don't know whether we'll get to 38,000, expecting high 30s, but it is a perfect scene for Brisbane to do battle with Carlton. If you have just joined us, no changes to the selected teams with Mitch Robinson, the injury sub for Brisbane, and Corey Durden, the injury sub for Carlton. Nearly three-quarter time at Docklands before we wind into our preview here. It's basically last oranges at Docklands. Aaron Bryans.
Yeah, it's getting ugly, Q. The Swans now by 45 points, 14-14-98 to North, 8-5-53, approaching three-quarter time. They've now kicked 5 in a row, so since we last spoke, Logan McDonald, Chad Warner getting on the board. It looks like North isn't going to be able to get this done, which means that the Swans will move into the top 4 after Fremantle moved in after their win over the Western Bulldogs. So I'll keep you up to date with the final quarter, Q, as it comes around, but at the moment it looks like Sydney's game to lose, 46 points ahead.
Thank you, Aaron. Just before Matt Promise and Jason Ackermanis take you through the matchups, let's get back out to Zane Bojack on the boundary with the crowd continuing to build. And what a day to be sitting in the sunshine, Zano.
Absolutely awesome. If it wasn't great having a chat to the Lion King, who's now in charge of the Blues, before on the boundary line, this is when you want to come to the Gabba and watch football, Q, man. Absolutely beautiful sunshine, though we got just a little bit of a smoke haze at the moment due to those fireworks that went off when the Lions ran on. Will we see fireworks on the field very shortly? A lot to play for the Lions, going for the top 4, getting back in there after last week's fade out against the Tigers. And as for the Blues, well, they just want to forget last week against Adelaide, don't they? And a chance to do it up here and end their Gabba hoodoo. We talk about the MCG hoodoo for the Lions, but Tell you what, Carlton aren't very successful up here as well. So looking forward to this one. 21 degrees, surface superb. This is going to be a good game of footy.
And we've got two great minds to start to break it down for you. Brisbane's got St Kilda and Melbourne after this. Carlton's got Melbourne and Collingwood. So both of these two teams, they're right on the tightrope, and every day at the footy is a big one late in this 2022 season. Jason Ackermanis and Matt Primes.
Well, big news too, boys. Bruce Willis is back doing the boundary umpiring. As I didn't even pick it up. The big fella next to me picked it up, big mattress. I'm just having a look in the middle here, Matty, and you see the ruckman and the midfielders going at it. What I do notice is I do see Rayner in there, which I think at some stage he will be and should be. You've got Reece Matheson, you've got Archie, and of course the backup ruckman there is McStay. McStay, interesting what's going to happen. He's clearly thinking about going, but he might not have a job or a contract to go to the way it's looking with Collingwood. Geez, they're playing so well. So how do you see it out there? I mean, this is the engine room, and can they get the guys in there they need that can do the job?
Well, yeah, that's the question. I look at, Carlton's, they've got Setterfield, it looks like going to play a bit through there on the wing. They've got some runners, some skinnier outside kind of guys. So you can see what their kind of plan is, where, Brisbane is what we've seen. They've got all their contest guys. Even Archie on the wing is a contest-driven kind of guy. So I'm really struggling to get toss up who's going to win this, because as Vossi said, Carlton's form last week against Adelaide poor, but before that they played some really good teams in really good form, and had just been going down where I've seen Brisbane over the last month and their form's been okay. So I'm really struggling. I'm probably going to lean just to the home team, but only because it's playing up here and Carlton's record isn't great. But it would not surprise me at all if Carlton can get their form going that they showed in probably the first half of the year going.
Tell you what, Setterfield's bigger than you think. I saw him just then standing next to Paddy Cribs. Paddy Cribs is 196, which is 5'5" and a bit, nearly 5'6", and he was
6'6".
Sorry, 6'6". Sorry,
yep.
Jeez,
I'm 5'6".
I'd back myself playing on someone 5'5".
I'm glad I'm an auctioneer. 550,000, mate. That's 660,000. But anyway, and then I'm looking at O'Brien as well. Like, there's some real talent. I know Vossi's I think he's got a better list than what Craig McRae got at Collingwood. But win and losses aside, I think Vossi just needs to find. I'll say it every week until he gets it right. That little bit of pace just in the midfield that can do the job, be damaging. That's what they're missing.
So contested ball just isn't the be-all and end-all.
Yeah.
We saw a domination last week of Paddy Cripps and Sam Walsh of 83-odd possessions between them against Adelaide, but then couldn't drag the rest of the team through.
Well, they butchered the ball. They had the most turnovers they've had all year, and that was Adelaide's heat, and they shut down a couple of their key movers, Adelaide. I'll be interested to see what Brizzy do with Sard.
That was a brilliant piece of
a bit of coaching
from Adelaide with Ben Keys.
You don't see much in the modern game of a half forward tagging a half back. You don't see much of that anymore. It's usually, if anything, you tag a gun mid.
Well, Keys gets 26 touches a week too. That's the other thing.
Yeah,
but he brought a midfielder's tank into the forward 50 and ran Sard over the top and really burned him over the back. 3 goals and a couple of assists as well.
So it isn't, but you hear both coaches, Brizzy need to be really strong in contested ball, and Vossi said, up until a couple of weeks ago, we were second in the competition for it. So both teams are going to rely on it, and then Carlton, by the sounds, are going to look to get outside them and pump it into their dangerous forward line, where Brizzy like to do exactly the same. So really intriguing matchup at both ends of the ground and through the middle.
Got to be hot in the kitchen. First 15, it's going to be real good. I think we'll see which side settles there. But Brisbane aren't a great starting team. They never have been, even up here. They sort of lope around, and then the second quarter they get going, and third quarter they can really pile on the points.
They can turn on, and Brisbane are the second worst team in the second half. So, it's a tale of... the Brisbane are very good in the first half, and then the Blues are poor in the second half. So
saw some damaging numbers during the week of the way that Brisbane's been conceding its scores. I mean, we look at the way that Harris Andrews, Darcy Gardner, Marcus Adams they very rarely get beaten in that one-on-one lockdown, but the way that the scores have been generated from the opposition from Brisbane's D50 would be something that I'm sure Chris Fagan would be concerned about.
Well, in the modern game, you're lucky to have 1 or 2 shots from your back 50. you transition to the team. Team shouldn't be able to do that against you. Team's defence is too good. So if that's happening regularly and exposing, and that's what we've seen over the last month here, teams can go coast to coast, or at least through the middle of the ground, they can take advantage of Brisbane's midfield. So, and then when we spoke to Vossi again, we've harped on a bit, speaking of Vossi, but he spoke about changing angles, moving the ball, sharing the ball around, so you can see how they're going to try and play.
But don't think they don't know that, Q. I'm just looking, though, out their window. Have a look down there, boys. That is
in the pocket.
The Blues brothers in that pocket. They are all in ties, hats.
Yep, they got the fake
blue, the blue baggers tops. That is sensational. The whole section. Oh man, that is
never seen anything like
wonderful.
that.
Who did they kick
for an
out of there?
opposition team?
The Blues brothers.
Yes.
Who was there a couple of weeks ago, Q? Was the
well, the Stormtroopers, the Gabba Troopers were here a couple of weeks ago. They're regulars during the Test match during the summer, so they've obviously decided to make a winter sojourn.
So this is at left half forward as we're looking at it. Left.
Yes.
And it's an entire bay, beautifully attired in the...
Dan Aykroyd's and James Belushi's galore out there.
They're on a mission.
Rolling.
Beautifully done. Now, isn't the carnival kind of atmosphere that a big Victorian club can bring to the Gabba when they're up and about? Acker, I know you said that Carlton didn't usually bring some fans, a lot of fans in through the gates.
Not full houses.
Not full houses, but when they're up and about, they do come out from underneath bus seats, let me tell you, and the Blues are up and about. This is vital for both clubs. I know we've said it ad nauseum, but really, it's a season-defining game for both teams.
Well, just before we launch, they are underway in the final term. We'll just check in with Aaron. It looks like the Swans are headed for a comfortable victory there against North. What's the latest, Aaron Bryans?
Yeah, Q, the Swans still ahead, 14-15-99 to North, 8-5-53. So we just started the fourth term, but I'll keep you up to date as play continues at the Gabba.
Good on you. And West Coast and Adelaide, of course, to complete this Sunday of round 21 and to complete the round and leave us with just a fortnight before the finals.
It's pretty full, Q.
Yeah, about 32,000, I think. I don't think all the club members and all the Gabba members are all coming today, but generally, 37 to 8,000 if every seat was taken. But I think we're probably going to be 4,000 or 5,000 shy of that.
Well, the toss has just been run and one, Acker, and Zorko's won the toss, and he's pointed towards the school end, which is the Blues Brothers end.
It is.
To the left as we're looking at it here at the Gabba.
I got a text message before the game. Big Matty promised you got any tickets. Actually at 2GA. So down there behind the goal somewhere, I think it's both your daughters. Is that correct, Mattress?
Hopefully somewhere down there, mate.
Down there.
So well played too, Acker, if you couldn't get free tickets off,
Oh, life member. I'm life member.
Life member, Hall of Fame.
They used to give them me up there. See where the cat's on in on the third level. But now they're just GAs behind the goals. Talk about
half. So you've gone from half forward flank to the pocket, Acker.
I've gone from the penthouse down to the outhouse. That's where I've gone. Because that down there is a bit rough, I must admit. Anyone could be in there.
Well, Silver Service Company here, Jason.
I know. I'm in here now.
Final tips and observations before we get into it.
Brisbane will win. It'll be a good game, be a close game, but it won't be easy.
10 points, Brisbane.
Okay, well, it certainly feels like one of the bigger home and away games that the Brisbane Cricket Ground faithful have been able to enjoy for quite some time. The Lions headed for the finals, the Blues trying to lock their ticket away. A sunny Sunday for high-stakes footy at the Gabba on ABC Sport. Brisbane and Carlton starts now with Michael Price.
Umpire Nathan Williamson holds the ball aloft in the middle of the Gabba. Tom de Koning versus Oscar McInerney in the middle of the field. A beautiful day here at the Gabba. The sun is beaming. Perfect bounce to start proceedings. Give that one to McInerney out of the hands of McLuggage. He handed it back to de Koning. He tumbles it forward inside 50 through the feet of Starcevic. Picked up by Fisher. He hooks it and right. One behind. Could have been the perfect start for the Baggers after 16 seconds. One behind.
And Coleman very quickly kicks in to Berry in the pocket. And he'll kick it to half-back for Lions. Actually didn't get to him, Jared Lyons. Gathers on the bounce, though. Kicks infield across the arc. Marked by McCluggage on D50 left half-back. Just the required 15, if that. Up thought so. Chip pass paid to Neil. Neil kicks down the wing. Wiedering does the spalling on Danaher. Hits the deck. Zorko kicks it off the ground for Brisbane to rumble it towards half-forward. Sard first to meet it. Sard playing on Cameron. Cameron tackles him over the boundary line. Throw in. And is that just me, or is there an extra little bit of salivation getting into the mouth, seeing Charlie Cameron and Adam Sard running to that?
That'll be a good battle.
Yep. Taking him straight deep, straight away, Cameron.
So the throw in across half forward for Brisbane. McInerney thumps it to the arc of 50. Marchbank pushed off it by McStay. He picks it up, shoots a handball. It went over the boundary line. Jared Lyons tackled in front of the Blues brothers on the arc of 50. Will get a throw in at left half forward.
Going short early to the Lions out of back line.
So is that Sard on Cameron or Cameron on Sard?
I think it's Sard on Cameron.
Okie dokie. A throw in across the arc of 50. McInerney gets it down. Oh, McCluggage thrown off the ball as he tried to get it to the boot. It spills. Jared Berry, handball now to Zorko. On to Lockie Neal. Gets it to the arc. That's a beautiful kick. Lock Neal opens up the scoring for the Brisbane Lions. One straight to Carlton, one behind. 5 points the margin after 2 minutes here on ABC Sport.
Even before the game, I was thinking, Matty, that Carlton have been good, and so has Brisbane, getting midfielders kick goals. And what do you know? The best player on the Brisbane list, Lockie Neal, kicks the first one. Really good, although Perry, he fumbled it 3 times, so very lucky to get away with that.
It's a sign of a really good team. If your midfielders can hit the scoreboard, then you constantly ask questions of your opposition midfield, don't you?
And I think he's freed up today. They are going to go just head to head. There's no tagging in there.
No, it's Chera, Walsh and Cripps v Lyons, McCluggage and Neal. So they're 3 guns. Both teams got him in there right from the start.
Good battle.
Matt Primus and Jason Ackermanis, your experts on this Sunday of Grandstand AFL. Centre bounce, De Koning to do battle with McInerney. McInerney with a fingertip, looking for McCluggage at ground level. Neal actually crashes in to win it for Brisbane. Hand pass to the wing, picked up by Archie. High ball to half forward for Brisbane. 2-on-2 pack. Off hands, roved by Neal of Brisbane. Hand pass wasn't great. Punched forward out of the air by Archie to Danaher. Tackled as soon as he gathered the ball. Wiedering locked him up. Umpire says no prior. And a ball up 55 from Brisbane's goal at right half forward for the Lions, who are taking the school end. De Koning got the palm down for the Blues, and Fisher the clearance. Kicks Carlton from left half back, high and over the wing. Martin's got 2 to beat. Brought the ball to ground level. Brisbane there to rove though. Starcevic picks up for the Lions. Kicks around the wing and hits McCluggage.
McCluggage immediately has a bounce, runs to 70 metres, a second bounce, gets up to the 50-metre line, inside 50, and beautifully read there by Doherty, who floated across in front of Charlie Cameron to take the defensive mark.
Or kick.
Oh, that's only an 8-metre kick. It went to Sard. Sard promoted it forward to Young. Not the required distance, called to play on. Ball knocked out of his hands. The handball from Zorko missed Hipwood. He went back and got it. Half tackled. The ball spills to McCarthy. His kick smothered by Young. Desperation inside the arc of 50, and it was a Carlton player tackled high. Went in and got the ball. Did Sam Walsh, tackled high by Rich, and will receive the free kick.
Kicks it to the leading Mackay, but Andrews there to spoil away.
That's a poor kick.
Ball over the boundary line, very wide, and it really sat on the head of the leading Carlton forward. Jason?
Well, you had O'Brien there. Just kick it to him. You don't have to kick it to Harry all the time.
Brisbane 1 straight, Carlton 1 behind. 4 minutes played. Ball to be thrown in left half forward for the Lions. De Koning lost his footing. Clean possession, McInerney, who then hacks a hopeful 20-metre hand pass forward. Taken by Hipwood. Went for the left foot bender from 40 metres out. Gets to the goal line. Cameron flies in the pack. Couldn't mark. McStay roves. Hand pass to Danaher in the chop. Put his head down. Wanted high contact. Upset play on. Tackled by Chera. Ball up.
Oh, just didn't spin right, that ball, did it? From the big Eric. Couldn't quite get a good jump at it.
Quick ball up at the goal line. Carlton got the numbers there at base with Chera, who went straight for the boundary line, and the Lions players are appealing for deliberate. It's not happening.
I think that was the Blues brothers, Pricey.
That was the Blues brothers.
We're up.
This is going to be on all day. Jake and Elwood sitting over in the forward pocket. Now the throw in right next to the behind post. De Koning nudged out of it by McStay. Ball spills. Carlton pick it up through Young. His kick smothered at the top of the goal square. It's picked up by McCluggage. He's monstered by a couple of Blues, and we'll have another ball up. Lions pressing.
They're getting lucky here, Carlton.
Ball tossed in the air. De Koning tried to palm it in Walsh's direction. Couldn't really get it to him. Now McStay's on hands and knees in the chop. McCluggage has it foraged out to him. Tackled off it by O'Brien. Farmed it somehow to Cripps. Rushed kick beyond defensive 50, marked by Brisbane's McInerney. 60 out. Hand passes to Rich running around boundary side. He kicks it back to full forward. McCarthy flew before acceptances. Ump lets it go. Ball on the deck in the goal mouth. Strong tackle by McCarthy applied on Setterfield. Ball up.
Good second effort there, McCartney. Terrible fly, but great second.
He does love a fly. Umpire at the point of the goal square throws it up. De Koning gets it down, picked up by Sard on the left foot. Woof, the Carlton fans go as it kicks towards half back, off hands. Oh, he's tackled, let it go. Could have been holding the ball. Setterfield the same. He let it loose on the outer side, picked up by Martin, handball to Fisher. He overran it. Pressure from the Lions, and they're applying it to Carlton. Chera picks it up, hacks it forward. Owies now accepts it on the chest. Wheels onto the right inside 50, and it's a horrible kick. He had Curnow by himself. Turnover, the Lions are out.
Kicked it straight to Adams, gave to Berry. Berry's kick marked by Lions. Lions kicks to the middle of the ground, marked by McCluggage. Transfer down the corridor complete, albeit among half volley to the leading forward Zorko on 50. On the deck, hand pass there from Hipwood, misses his target. Strong tackle applied by Setterfield to keep it in the chop. Hard footy to win this. Doherty gets a toe to it to get it beyond the 50 for the Blues. Picked up by Motlop under pressure. Hand pass out the back to Fisher, to Silvani. Hand pass backwards to Setterfield, back to D50. Here's the kick to the wing for the Blues. In front of Curnow, and he's going to get a free kick. Darcy Gardner's given away a free kick. So Charlie Curnow's a chance to send Carlton forward. Really hot footy to win early here. Deep kick from Curnow. 3-on-2 Brisbane in the contest. Ball brought to ground level. Half a chance for, I think it's Cottrell. Got tackled straight away.
Boy, oh boy.
And it's going to be a ball up. Yeah, Bailey tackling. No, it was Owies underneath that. But gee, it's a hot footy.
Absolutely. He was absolutely blanketed there as well. No ruckman for Carlton, picked up there by McInerney. His kick smothered, so Walsh comes in. It's a high ball. Curnow sets himself with Silvani at their feet. The ball spills. Lions have got some numbers, but boy, the pressure is on from both sides. It's held up 25 metres out directly in front of the Carlton's goal. We'll get a ball up.
And again, Price, you see Lions just chipping it short, just coming out the back line, moving it quick, but kicking it short.
There is a lot of players, everybody forward of halfway. McInerney misses it, picked up by Cripps. Went one way, then the other. Tackled, turned the ball over. Lyons tumbles it outside 50. It's collected by Sard, hands through Wiedering, then Nunes. It's a kick to the forward pocket. Did it go out of bounds on the full? No, it went over for a throw-in. Zane's down there.
You remember in the movie Gladiator where the Gladiator went down, picked up the dirt, wiped it on his face. Reece Matheson just put water all over his face. The beast is ready to unleash. He wants to get out there.
Good on you, Zano. Eagle eye on the boundary. Throwing with the Blues in attack. Ruckman tap it back boundary side. No clean possession as Rich sees it over the line again and will do it once more.
A low-scoring game, and this continues. It won't. It'll open up eventually because it's too hot. But yes, it is tight.
9 minutes played. Brisbane a goal. Carlton a point. Lockie Neal, a wonderful running goal from 50. The only major. Thrown in. Mackay to the front of McInerney. Tap down to Cripps. Put off his kick. A mongrel towards goal has gone over the boundary line again. You have a go, Michael. Same spot for that throw in. Left forward pocket for the Blues.
And that is the shady end here at the Gabba. The left, as we look at it, still got the sunshine peeking through.
Bruce Willis with the throw in.
Throws it in next to the point post. There's a mess of bodies as it hits ground level. Towed forward by Neal. Picked up around his ankles by McCarthy. Then he put another gear on. Handball to Matheson. Back to McCarthy in the perfect 1-2. He had a bounce, went to the wing and destroyed all of his good work by drilling it down the throat of Lewis Young, who sits on the arc of 50 for Carlton. He goes backwards to find McGovern.
At full back, and it's a long switch. Beyond high half back, marked by Silvani in space. Kicks Carlton to the wing. And finds Dow, Paddy Dow in just his third game of the season for the Blues. Will slow it up on halfway on the members' wing. Dow with his right boot, kicks wide in the Mackay direction. Got a finger to bring it down to Chera's advantage. Gathers on the boundary. Well, he had it, then lost it under the pressure of Lyons. Well played. Jared Lyons pinches it for Brisbane. Kicks to the wing and Neal marks. And will hold it up because there's no one in front of him. And now you can see almost the tide coming in. As the slow shift of players towards the Lions attacking end. Kick towards half forward. Bounces in front of McCarthy. Young decide to bump to allow Sard to pick it up. Blues have got it. Hand passes back to Cottrell and he all the way back to the pocket for Wiedering.
Wiedering now finds O'Brien just outside 50 but right on the boundary line as well. Uses his left to effect a cross half back to find McGovern. He slows it down. Everybody set up in front of him. This is it. You described it beautifully before. The tide of players in a sheet. Now the ball gets kicked to the wing. Off hands. Overrun by O'Brien. Picked up by Nunes. Has a bounce. Goes back through the traffic. It's an aggressive kick towards centre half forward. Curnow grabs it. and he's immediately belted into the ground by the man-beast in Marcus Adams.
Specimen.
The specimen, and it's going to be a ball up at centre-half forward for Carlton.
Thrown in the air, McInerney the palm down to Jared Berry. His hand pass turned over, stolen by Cripps at the coalface. Got it out the back to Walsh, all under pressure. Matheson tackles him, ball spills 3, and the ump says holding the ball. And Reece Matheson just spends a moment or two straddled over the top of his tackled victim in Walsh to let him know a little bit about it.
Nearly a drive-by there.
1 straight to 1 point. Brisbane lead the game by 5 as Matheson kicks short to Starcevic. Starcevic transfers to the bullseye, marked by Gardner. Long kick to full forward for Brisbane. McInerney, tallest in the pack, couldn't mark. Roving his side for Carlton. Under pressure, hand passes to himself in the pocket. Regathers. There's the wolf of the Ange Christou clearance to half back. But
Downfield he got dealt with.
Okay, there's a wolf and an oof after all of that.
He's in trouble. I think he did his ankle or something.
Well, it was McCarthy who let it go, but it's gone down the outer wing now. Kick forward, smothered by Darcy Gardner onto the logo. It's the 1-2 handball. Zach Bailey lowers the eyes, finds McCarthy, who's actually in really good form to start this game. He's on the point of the centre square at right half forward for the Lions with patience. He pops it up. It's a 2-on-1, and it was Danaher and McStay. McStay just saying, kick it a bit lower as it came off hands over the boundary line. We're going to throw in Zane's down there.
Yeah, Sard's struggling, but he still runs very fast. He tried to cut off that mark that came in there for McCarthy, but he's just come off to the bench. He's getting some treatment, but he's in a lot of pain.
Keep a close eye. Throw in with Brisbane in attack. Silvani playing ruck for the Blues. Tap down to Martin. Kick doesn't get beyond defensive 50 on the head of a pack. Walsh hits the ball hard. Ricochets it to Motlop, whose hand pass was too hot. And out of play it goes. And Walsh is slow to get himself up here.
Might have been friendly fire there.
He's up and in the hands of the trainer, but circulating as if getting ready for this boundary throw-in, which has now affected right half forward for the Lions. Silvani got to it to tap at boundary side for the Blues and gain about 10 metres and another neutral. 13 minutes played in perfect conditions. It's Brisbane 1 straight 6, leading Carlton 1 behind. What's happening at Docklands? Aaron Bryans.
Q11 to play in the 4th. The Swans by 52 points now. Buddy has 4. Nick Larkey has 7. It's all about percentage. The Swans are now in 3rd by 0.5%, leading by 52 points.
Here at the Gabba, it's the Lions by 5. We're at right half forward and they're attacking. Carlton with the ball through Cripps. Subterranean handball cut off there by Neal to McLuggage to the standing starter Bailey. Just thumps it inside 50. Young drops what he might have taken under pressure. Roved by Cameron. Handball McCarthy. Snapped from 40. Across the face, one behind. 117 plays one behind. Nearly 14 minutes gone to the first term on ABC Sport. Michael Price, Quentin Hull with your experts, Jason Ackermanis, Matthew Primus.
Good start by Brizio. They're really strong in the contest, playing their kind of brand of footy. They'd be happy with his first 10 minutes.
And it's not easy to score as they come back out, but they've got 2 men behind the ball at the moment, Carlton, so they are worried about Brisbane's start.
Long kick in from McGovern. Towards half back, almost a mark to Marchbank, was spoiled by Jared Berry. Out of play, boundary throw in 70 metres from Brisbane's goal. The Lions travel away to St Kilda next week and then home to the D's to finish their home and away campaign. Carlton has MCG dates with the Demons and the Magpies to finish their home and away season. Throw in is short. Silvani got to it. Ineffective tap though. Neal plays tackler on Setterfield. Setterfield got a hand pass away though to Young. Somehow bobbled it through it. According to the up to Silvani, illegal. Free kick Brisbane. And that will be given to the tackler in Lincoln McCarthy, who has started very well, coming up for touch 6 in the first term. 60 metres out left half forward. Spearing bullet, low to Hipwood's chest, what a pass. And Hipwood marks it 10 metres out directly in front.
Absolute soda. Great pass there. He just pulled a little bit, give it to the advantage of Big Eric. Eric could have got a free kick. He was already holding him for the 5 metres before he got there.
Well, he had a great first half in particular at the MCG last week, Eric Hipwood. 4 goals in all last week. He's up to 13 on the season. One, of course, which started late due to his recovery from a knee reconstruction required from an injury from last year. And this is the Gabba, ladies and gentlemen, with the Lions' favourite having a shot for goal. Hipwood, 25 out, slight angle to the left. He's missed that to the right. An all too familiar circumstance here at the Gabba for Lions fans. That's one That is a right off the boot of Eric Hipwood. Lions 1-2, Blues 1 behind.
Sorry, Q. Yeah, he just faded off there as a left footer. Didn't follow through after his contact, and that's why the ball drifted.
And Carlton have just brought the ball back in. Doherty kicked it to McGovern. Hipwood almost pinched it. That was what you heard the crowd going off about. Now they've got the ball, the Blues, over to O'Brien. He stretched a beautiful 40-metre pass beyond half-back and found Chera on the boundary line. He's shading his eyes as the sun looking straight into it as he kicks it now. That's a low, wobbly, horrible kick along the Stanley Street wing. Harris Andrews cuts it off for Brisbane, shoots a handball out. O'Brien makes up for it for Carlton and slaps it over the boundary line, right in front of the benches for a throw-in. 7 points the margin, the Lions lead. We've played 17 minutes of the first quarter. The efficiency inside 50 at world record lows. Carlton are at 20%, the Lions at 11.
Ball thrown in on the outer wing. Again, shallow. McInerney goes to hands and knees. He's tackled by Silvani. Ball still in contesting dispute there. Walsh holding the ball. He got a hand pass free, not legally according to the ump. And Jared Lyons makes the tackle, wins the free kick. Kicks infield to Gardner, wanted to go, then decided not to, runs backwards, kicks a mung around the wing to the advantage of McCluggage. Tackled by Doherty, but got a kick to half forward. Bounces devilish over the head of Hipwood and also Young. Tracking back Silvani there for Carlton, keeps it in at defensive 50. Hand pass to Young. His kick, trying to clear, is smothered. Gathered by Rayner in the pocket for Brisbane. Left boot, in-step kick towards Cameron. Hassled off it at the top of the goal mouth. Half a chance for McStay, goes sprawling to deck under the pressure of Wiedering. Ump's letting them play. Play on, play on, play on. Nah, had enough now. Ball it up in the right forward pocket for the Lions.
That was unlucky. I tell you, he got two high shots there, Cameron. I'm not sure what the umpire's looking at. We could see it from here, and we're 50 metres away.
Umpire throws it up. Top of the goal square, Silvani slaps it down. Zorko tackled off the ball. In fact, the umpire says no. We'll ball it up again in more or less the same spot. It's pushed towards the right forward pocket, off the hands of Hipwood now. Picked up by Nunes. Just slaps it onto the left boot, tumbles it towards the arc. Picked up by Matheson off hands. He just hooks it around from 45. Rayner flies on the line, fisted over by Wiedering. Another behind. The Lions pressing 139. Plays one behind.
What we expected, it's going to be tight, but I tell you, Carlton want to get a little bit more on the scoreboard real quick, end of the quarter.
She's an old arm wrestle to start, Aka, that's for sure. As McGovern with the chip in for Carlton, marked by Silvani, who's certainly playing a backward six type role at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And
if not the spare back at times, Silvani, as he kicks infield, very good on the 45. Marked back, hand passes to Doherty, runs through half back, has a bounce to the middle, kicks wide to the half forward flank, Setterfield marks in space, 60 out, he's got a man in the goal mouth, chips it for Mackay, but it's intercepted. He was looking in fact for Cottrell in the end, and Starcevic got in the way to make the intercept for the Lions. Switches it out to the right back pocket, marked by Matheson. He kicks down the wing, DeConing too big and too strong for McCarthy, and takes the mark for the Blues.
He had a shot then, shouldn't he, Pricey?
Absolutely. Well, you've got to take responsibility sometimes, methinks, as DeConing plays on. That's a long left footer looking for Mackay. Andrews flies up, fists it forward 10 metres. Off hands, roved by Matheson. Gets it onto his left boot, tumbles it back to the wing. Tracking back, Sard controls it deftly, and that's a wonderful lateral kick to the corridor. He finds Wiedering at true centre half back. He overcooks his kick, Wiedering onto the wing, and that gives Zach Bailey a gift. Back to the corridor. He chisels it to Rayner. Opens it up 2-on-1. Berry in the square. Oh, when Jacob Wiedering accepts the pats on the back from his teammates in Cottrell, that was an awful error, and Jared Berry will accept this shot from point-blank range.
He won't miss this. That's a bad turnover.
Well, that's the turnovers last week that cost them against Adelaide, and that was just a simple kick. They worked really well to get it to the open side, which is Brisbane's Achilles heel, but just overcooked it, and Brizzy can make it pay on the turnover.
But really good quick inboard from Zach Bailey on to Rayner and then down onto Berry. Who kicked this?
The oldest Berry, the elder Berry. Comes in, and boy, he makes the goal umpire work a lot, but kicks the goal from the top of the square to give the Lions their second. 2-3-15 to one behind. It's a 14-point margin. 20 minutes gone of the first term on ABC Sport.
Around the grounds to Docklands, Aaron Bryans.
47-point lead to the Swans queue, which means they've dropped behind Melbourne on the live ladder. I'll keep you updated with 7 to play.
Zane on the boundary.
Yeah, as you heard there by the Wolf just before that big turnover there by Carlton, Sarda's back on. His ankle's okay. He does look a little bit inhibited, perhaps not quite as quick as he usually is, but he's okay to play on.
Can't see him slowing down that much, Sard. He looks pretty good. And the way he runs, I don't think he needs his ankles as much as everyone else. He's quick though.
Both teams really putting lots of numbers between the arcs, which is why most inside 50s are pretty rushed and there's not much room around there. Both defences on top.
2-3-1 behind. Brisbane leading by 14 points. And we'll redo the bounce in the middle, or certainly have it recalled for a ball up. As McInerney gets the tap down towards the wing side of the centre square circle. Neil had it, got taken high.
Oh, play on
to advantage. Rayner runs to 50. Left foot shot on goal's a floater and misses near side for a behind to make it a 15-point margin at 2-4-16 to 1 behind. 21.5 first term.
Better wanted to see Rayner out of the midfield there, Pricey.
That's a beauty there. Another dangerous kick in from Carlton.
That was 4 metres.
Well, he's standing 4 metres from the goal square. That's where he accepted it. Doherty. It's a long kick to right half back. Finds Setterfield, who wheels around onto the right and then drills it down the throat of Matheson. He drops it duly under the pressure from Cripps, but then Cripps put too much pressure on the beast and it's a free kick. So another Carlton error means a turnover and the Lions will get another chance at pumping it back inside 50. It's via Matheson this time. Long kick into the sun inside 50. Carlton, well, they spoiled each other. Roving it was Wiedering. Put a very high kick in, 2-on-1. Matheson and Kadeem Coleman versus Cripps. Matheson roved, but then Nunes put a high tackle on. Did he shrug?
Oh,
Let's debate that for a while as we discussed. He handballs it back into Kadeem Coleman. Chips inside 50. Beautifully read Caleb Marchbank for a defensive mark for Carlton.
He's gone long then. That's where the boys wanted it. They all wanted it long, not short there. Bad turnover.
We'll concentrate on the footy rather than dwelling in decisions of the past. Marchbank kicking down the line on the head of Answorth, knocked away by Mackay. Boundary throw in.
Well, is Reece Matheson running with Patrick Cripps there? You can see Cripps getting a little frustrated there.
Yeah, I think it's a good matchup. Big body on a big body at a stoppage, and then after that, they go their own way.
Brisbane 2-4-16, Carlton 1 behind, 23 minutes first term. Throw in, Zorko roves at half forward for the Lions from 70, rush kick to the pocket. Wiedering's going to be first to meet it on the bounce for Carlton. Audacious kick comes off. Little chip to Setterfield, who gets to it and marks, going to a knee on defensive 50 at right half back for Carlton. Just shading his eyes from the setting sun out in the west. As Setterfield kicks down the members' wing. Mackay in front, Andrews the knuckle, Boundary the victor, throw it in.
It's a bit too easy. I think Michael Voss at quarter time was saying, boys, you've got to come back through the corridor. Let's get on these short 45s. Let's break it up. You just can't go long like that. The defence of Brisbane is too good for that.
17 inside 50s to 7 in favour of the Lions at the moment as we get a throw in on the commentary wing, Vulture Street side. Walsh roves, tackled again by Matheson. Ball held underneath the pair of them as the umpire comes in and says, we'll ball it up again.
That's Brisbane's style of footy, Pricey. They just dominate territory on you and eventually wear you down.
McInerney, decisive thump forward, picked up there by Doherty for Carlton, and he was tackled and threw the ball away. Zorko, the tackler, will receive it just forward of centre wing, Vulture Street side. That's the commentary box side here at the Gabba. Wheeling around now, Zorko puts it into the pocket. That was a spear. McInerney knew where it was going. It was to the 2 metre space in front of him, and he got there in front of De Koning, took the mark, 45-degree angle to the left, 40 metres out.
He was very confused. Great kick from Zorko, but De Koning, I don't know whether he lost it in the sun, but he was just watching the ball the whole time, Big O, and that's what you've got to do if you're going to go forward, and you can read it a bit better, as all good forwards should.
Yep.
Oscar McInerney, the Big O, from 50. Oh, that's an awful kick to the right. It's going to land in the pocket. Big Pack punches it through. Another behind. 2-5-17 to Brisbane. One solitary behind for Carlton. It's 16 points the margin with 25 gone in the first term.
That hardly touched his foot. How did he even get?
Wasn't the greatest exponent of the set shot on that occasion.
Oh, man.
One that the Ruckman's Union Matt will no doubt trying to race from the records as Adam Sard wanders with 2 bounces to the pocket. Now a kick to left half back around the boundary marked by McGovern. Hand passes to O'Brien. O'Brien hands it back to McGovern at left half back. High kick for Carlton towards the wing. Pack of players. Curnow taps it down to the roving Martin. Hand pass back to O'Brien. Hand pass over the top to Fisher near the interchange gates. High kick from 80 towards the pocket. Curnow the target. Adams the fist. Thumps it through for a ball up. A boundary throw in the left forward pocket for the Blues. Zane Bojack.
Yeah, one of the reasons the Big O has been playing up forward, Q, is that, I tell you, Hipwood has been off for a little while. It looked like he had a little bit of a problem with his calf, or just below his knee, but he's been off for a fair while. I'm surprised why he hasn't come back on.
Throw in the left forward pocket for Carlton off the hands of McInerney. Berry takes it for Brisbane. Handball to Neal. He's tackled into the ground. That's holding the ball. Oh, boy.
Too rough.
Dumped him into the ground, and it has been deemed so by the umpire as Chera and Zorko have a bit of a set too.
Yeah, I think it was Chera with the tackle.
Yeah,
well,
a bit rough. He dumped him.
He did dump him. Okay, I'll take that from Jason Ackermanis.
You see on the replay, Edge grabbed an arm.
Well, there was a double.
Actually, Martin.
There was a double ping.
Martin.
Chera had got him, then Martin came in front way. So they stitched him up, but he's okay. Lockie Neal from the back pocket kicks it to a pack on the outer side. Bailey threw it. That was a double-fisted punt. That was a weird
netball pass.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, went to Sard. Blues have got it. Gives to McGovern. His kick to half forward turned over. Marked by Zorko over the lines. He goes to the corridor. Kicks it to McCluggage. Hand pass to Rich. Bullet 60 metres downfield. Charlie's out the back. Cameron marks and goals. First of the afternoon for Charlie Cameron. Carlton absolutely found wanting out the back. Lions 3-5-23. Blues 1 behind, 27.5. First term on Grandstand AFL. Jason Ackermanis and Matt Primus.
Oh, just the way he read it then. Sard got the ball. He was the last defender. He wheeled around on his left. Charlie bolted forward, and then the change of angles. Once Brizzy won it, come to the open side. Charlie read the play out there, but it was the change of angle which caught the Carlton defenders out there.
Well, before we go to the boundary, I think it was Zorko. He just played on. Played on, and then everything was flowing. Danny Rich gets the ball. You're not going to miss him out the back. Fantastic 60-metre bullet pass, and Charlie played on. Great goal.
Zane.
Yeah, the man you spoke to, Q, Noah Ainsworth, he's just got a problem with his right ankle. You can see the trainers there just on the boundary line. They're having a chat to him. It looks pretty bad.
Back into the middle, and Carlton with the clearance. They've turned it over. It's picked up there by McCluggage, who kicks it forward off the toes of Sard. Back inside the centre square. Now Carlton with a chance through Cottrell. His handball missed the target again. Archie comes in. He overruns it. Picked up there again by Nunes. He's tackled by McCluggage into the ground. Messy. But we'll get another ball up just forward of the centre circles.
He's in blue on our screen, Ainsworth. What does that mean? He's in trouble?
Yes, it is. As McInerney toes it forward to the top of the square. A one-on-one McStay versus Wiedering. And Wiedering slaps it through for a behind. 3-6-24 to Brisbane. And one straight behind. Carlton, their last score was 15 seconds into the first quarter.
Yep, 9 scores in a row for Brisbane. Now,
they're trying getting the ball back.
It's just taking a while to get the footy to Adam Sard. That's what the crowd was oohing and ahhing about.
There's usually a boxer ball stand there, isn't there?
Yeah. Sard is walking literally along the point post, having a bounce, and then his kick is very poor, misses the target in Marchbank, who tries to play tackler, ends up with Zorko in the pocket, and Zorko creates a bit of magic with a right foot roller from against the boundary. What a horrid kick in from Adam Sard. And what a wonderful finish from Dane Zorko. The best and the worst of 2 of the great entertainers of the game right there. Brisbane 4-6-30 to Carlton 1 behind.
Yeah, poor by Sardi. It was also to do with his whole team. His whole team on the kicking were just standing there. Nobody was giving him anything, so he had to just wander off, but he wandered off poorly and as if something else was going to make up, and then he's had a poor kick and drop of the ball. And just poor, 50-odd seconds left to the quarter. Vossi would be really disappointed with their last 2 or 3 minutes here.
I tell you what the irony was there, Price, just turn the mic on there, is the pressure from Zorko quickly came at Sard. That's why the kick ended up becoming poor. And the irony, he's ended up getting that goal.
Yeah, 11 disposals for Adam Sard so far, 6 of them contested, and he's going at 82%, so he doesn't make too many errors. It's a big clearance, and it kicks inside 50 for Brisbane, but it's Lewis Young coming back with a defensive mark. He flares it wide, finds Wiedering by foot, and then that's a better kick from Wiedering down the wing looking for Silvani. But right on his hammer, Darcy Gardner fists it through over the boundary line and will get a throw in. Zane Bojack's on the boundary.
Ainsworth down to the dressing room, guys. It doesn't look real good, that ankle.
That's not good news for Brisbane. Their med sub today is Mitch Robinson.
That's not too bad. It's a better med sub than Ford, I reckon.
Boundary throw in right on the quarter time siren. So that's it for a dominant first term for the locals. Brisbane by 29 points, having put on 10 unanswered scoring shots after Carlton kicked the first score, which was behind. Since then, the Lions have kicked 4 goals, 6. Neil, Berry, Cameron and Zorko with the goals for Brisbane. The Lions 4-6-30, leading Carlton 1 behind. Before our experts, they're about to hit the final hooter at Docklands. Aaron Bryant.
Cue the final siren has just sounded. Todd Goldstein lining up for goal, and he's missed it to the left. So it will be a 38-point win for the Swans. North kicked the last 3 of the game, so that leaves the Swans in 4th, a percentage behind Melbourne. It's their 14th win of the season. Lance Franklin had 4 goals for the Swans. Tom Papley and Chad Warner 3 each. Nick Larkey had a career best 7 for the Roos from 11 disposals. But Sydney winners 18-18, 126 to North Melbourne's 13-10, 88.
Thank you, Aaron. There are 2 games in the National Rugby League today. Canterbury Bankstown and North Queensland is about to wrap up, and that is going to be followed by the game between the Wests Tigers and Newcastle. As far as that first game is concerned, it's in fact just finished now. The Cowboys have beaten the Bulldogs by 28 points to 14. Sold out crowd in Bundaberg today in regional Queensland for that game. North Queensland 28 over Canterbury Bankstown 14. Next up it's the Tigers and Newcastle. So that final score at Docklands, Sydney 18-18, 126 over North Melbourne's 13-10, 88. In about 20 minutes or so, West Coast and Adelaide start to do battle in Perth. We'll keep you up to date here. Meanwhile, quarter time at your main fair, the Brisbane Cricket Ground. It's Brisbane by 29 points at quarter time. Jason Ackermanis and Matt Primus will tell you more in just a moment on Grandstand AFL.
When I'm 90.
When I'm 90.
We'll celebrate our 90th birthday definitely together. Oh, the dance moves.
I've got a real life party trick. He's right here.
Scott's favourite party trick, he pulls out the sprinkler on the dance floor.
That's my signature move.
Oh, I think the party for turning 90 is going to be huge.
It'll be a birthday month. Maybe 90 though, we should go big. Do a birthday year.
Yeah. Happy birthday, ABC. Yours for 90 years.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL. On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
McInerney gets it down. Oh, McCluggage thrown off the ball as he tried to get it to the boot. It spills. Jared Berry, handball now to Zorko. On to Lockie Neal. Gets it to the arc. That's a beautiful kick. Lock Neal opens up the scoring for the Brisbane Lions.
Sard. Blues have got it. Gives to McGovern. He's kicked the half forward, turned over. Marked by Zorko with the lines. He goes to the corridor. Kicks it to McCluggage. Hand pass to Rich. Bullet 60 metres downfield. Charlie's out the back. Cameron marks and goals. Sard is walking literally along the point post, having a bounce, and then his kick is very poor. Misses the target in Marchbank, who tries to play tackler. Ends up with Zorko in the pocket. And Zorko creates a bit of magic with a right foot roller from against the boundary.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
All the Lions in the first term at the Gabba. Welcome back to a sun-drenched Sunday afternoon. Quentin Hull and the team in place for Grandstand AFL through ABC Sport. Brisbane 4-6-30, Carlton 1 behind. How did that happen, Jason Ackermanis and Matt Primus?
Well, what happened, big fellas? They got dominated, didn't they?
Got smashed. Plus 11 at stoppages, Brizzy. Plus 13 inside 50s. 5 zip centre bounce. That's Brisbane's style of play. So contested possession about equal, but they just dominated them around the clinches. Own territory, which set up their defence, which kept Brizzy to, 5 or 6 inside 50s. Midfield well on top. Matho, McCluggage, Neal, Berry, Lyons, all in the top possession winners on the ground and bugger all of Carlton's midfield. So just a dominance in the clinches, and that's the best Brisbane style of footy I've seen them live play up here this year.
That is a good start, but even, you could see Sard's leading their, disposals, but at the other end of the spectrum, you've got an absolute superstar in Sam Walsh with 2 touches. I tell you what Michael Voss has got to do. Michael Voss has got to say, okay, midfield, we've got to get back. Not only do we have to get back on top, let's stand up in the tackles, be a little bit sharper with the ball, but let's come back through the corridor, because kicking long down the line is a dumb move, because Brisbane's defenders are too big and too strong, particularly on slow play. On quick play, maybe you can catch them out, but they've just got to be more aggressive with their ball use and their ability to actually get the ball cue.
Zane on the boundary.
Mitch Robertson was warming up, but Ainsworth's just come back out from the dressing room. He looks really inhibited, but they've strapped that up, obviously. He was just talking to the coaching staff. I think he's going to try and have a crack in the second quarter and see how he goes.
Thanks, Zane. For Brisbane, 8 possessions for Hugh McCluggage, 8 also for Oscar McInerney, Lockie Neal and Reece Matheson. Half dozen for Zorko McCarthy and Jared Berry. Top individuals for Carlton, Sard with 11. McGovern 8, Setterfield 7, Doherty 7. So all of those back 6 players getting the numbers.
Harry Mackay hasn't touched it yet. It keeps getting dumped on his head.
Yep.
Well, they've only
neither's Joe Danaher.
Well, no,
the other end of the field.
But on the 21 inside 50s to 8, and the efficiency hasn't been great on both sides, but the Lions obviously taking more of their chances.
Well, they leave Ainsworth on. He hasn't touched the ball either. Mitch Robinson's fresh to go, and he looks a little bit very proper, I should say, but that's going to be a conundrum.
Well, let's get into this second term. Brisbane leading by 29 points, repeating that final score at Docklands. Sydney by 38 over the Kangas. The Swans 18-18, 126 to North's 13-10, 88.
So as the shade takes over the right-hand side of the ground up to the centre circles, the umpire bangs it down at the start of the second quarter. McInerney gets it down for Brisbane. Paddy Dow goes back in for Carlton, wins the ball under pressure, tumbles it forward. It gets there, cut off by Archie. Handball laterally to Rich. Just nurses a nice left foot back into the middle to find McInerney. The big fella wheels around onto the right. That's a long right foot kick, and it kicks it to the top of the square, and that's a nice mark taken by Lewis Young, who read it best.
He needed that, Louis. He started very scratchy and a bit under the pump the first quarter.
And now very unsure as to what to do next, Young. He decides on a pass to a 2-on-1 against Doherty. Missed the target anyway, and Jared Berry marks for Brisbane and will inject the Lions into attack once more. Chips it towards Danaher, went over his head and marked by Young. Must have taken a touch. Play on. Hand pass to Nunes. Clears from right back pocket to right half back for the Blues. Rich in front for Brisbane, couldn't mark. Ball to ground level. Kerno wrestling away there with Berry. Kicks it to the advantage of Doherty, who picks up. Clean hands out the back for Fisher. From right half back, a kick to half forward. Met by Kerno. Couldn't mark under the spoil of Gardner. Rode by Starcevic. And his kick's out of bounds on the full. And the free kick will go Carlton's way to Doherty. Out on the southern side in the wing. True centre wing out in the sunshine.
Doherty kicks long towards right half forward. Whistle on play. There's been an offence off the ball. And
Jack Martin, yep.
Matt Martin just got
Darcy Gardner there.
About 25,000 metres off the ball.
Just holding around the Lions logo around his stomach there at the moment as Reece Matheson pops up to take the free kick, and that's a long one down the outer wing and working his way to the front of the pack. McStay takes a good mark. Plays on, lowers the eyes, misses Danaher. Hits Wiedering. Wiedering plays on for Carlton. He misses his target in McGovern. Finds McStay. Umpire says don't worry about it. It's a free kick and it'll go to Carlton. It'll go back to Mitch McGovern. Just short of centre wing on the outer side in the shade. Stanley Street's side. It's the Lions by 29 points.
And a moment or two for McGovern to assess his options and decides with a long kick down the wing. Silvani! He created a drop zone, which he cradled with his left hand to take a nice mark. His kick forward, though, very wide, but marked by Charlie Kerno, hard on the boundary at right half forward and 50 metres out. Welcome those of you through the Northern Territory, just joining us from Docklands. Quentin Hull and the team at the Gabba. Brisbane dominating the first term, leading by 29 points at quarter time. We're only 2.5 into the second term. No scorers yet. But Charlie Kerno will try and kick a goal, Carlton's first, from off the boundary, 50 metres out at right half forward. Kerno kicks it across the face, whack through for a rushed score, is it? No, whacked into the post. So a boundary throw in opposite pocket for the Blues. Score remains Brisbane 4-6-30. Carlton 1 behind.
No doing well. They're having shots from there, let me tell you.
Here's the throw in. Oh, shallow throw in taken by Cripps. Handball to Martin. Martin snaps from close range.
Oh,
1 behind.
The Blues brothers were up there, Pricey, weren't they?
Well, that's the first score since the 15-second mark of the first quarter. And it's 30 plays 2. 28 points the margin. The Lions lead with 3.5 gone second term, ABC Sport.
Rich wanders to the pocket and then walks back the other way. Chips it across the face of goal to Ainsworth. So he's good and out there circulating, which is good news, having had a few issues. Chip short to Starcevic. Brisbane get it to right half back, and now the bare minimum with the chip to Rayner. Rayner on the infield, chip to Matheson. Takes the mark. They're still on D50, Brisbane, but happy to possess it to this point of the ground, and now Matheson shielding his eyes from that western sun.
This is a win for Carlton. Long kick.
Rolls on, and indeed, Jason, long kick to a contest. Wiedering gets to the front, but Danaher read the flight, put his studs into the back of the defender, takes the mark, plays on, kick inside 50, average in front of Sard. Gathers for Carlton under pressure. Got a hand pass though to Doherty. He's hassled too by Cameron, and the ball stuck under that group of players. Ball up, 50 from the Lions goal at right half forward for Brisbane.
That loss last week has stung them into action. Their defence is awesome.
That was good from Charlie Cameron, wasn't it, as the ball's extracted outside defensive 50 for Carlton by O'Brien, just short of centre wing. It was taken by Ainsworth back on the field. He was dealt with and gets rid of the ball. It's a high shot. It's on Harris Andrews against Harry Mackay. Still hasn't registered a disposal. Andrews now, handball off to the run of Ainsworth. It's a long right foot kick to the top of the 50. Off hands there. Rode by Bailey, didn't quite take possession. Cripps did. Handball to O'Brien under pressure. That left foot goes straight to the wing. And it's a nice mark taken by Daniel Rich. He wheels around onto the left quickly. Kicks it into the 50. McLuggage, beautiful scoop. Gathers, goes long, 1 behind. 4-7-31, place 2. 29 points the margin, 5 gone second term. Michael Price, Quentin Hull, your experts, Jason Ackermanis, Matty Primus.
Well, McGovern changes it up, runs long and kicks deep with the kick in. 2-on-2 on the outer side. Martin the target. Spoil made, arriving for Brisbane as Adams taps it towards the boundary line. Can't get it out, can he? Yes, he can. And the ump says that's fair play. Throw it in.
Q, we spoke about before the game how teams have been able to take it coast to coast against Brizzy while they're right on top here. Carlton just got no way out of Brisbane's forward 50.
29 points, the lead to Brisbane. Throw in on the outer side. McInerney taps down for Neal, tackled straight away into the deck. And the ump says no prior. And we'll see a ball up.
That last foray in there, just Danny Rich had a lot of options. He just did not quite hit that one coming forward to him.
McInerney clean possession, but his kick smothered die to Koenig to keep it in the ruck contest. Cripps picks it up. Hand passes to Walsh. Hand pass out to Dow. The Blues are out. Dow's kick around the boundary line. Too hot for Motlop. Couldn't mark. And Starcevic there to do enough harassing to see it out of play for another boundary throw in. Slightly attacking side of the win for Carlton, who are attacking the school end in this second term. Brisbane leading 4-7-31 to 2 behind. 6 minutes played second term.
27 inside, 50s to 9 in favour of Brisbane as well. Dominating in that regard. The throw in into the sunshine on the outer side at ground level. Neal gives it to Bailey. Now the handball to the run of Jared Berry. Long kick to left half forward, and that's a diving mark taken by Marchbank for Carlton. He goes for a very short kick. In fact, the umpire said play on. Setterfield turns around, kicks it long around the wing, and then it gets cut off again by Starcevic. They're just not letting anything through, Brisbane. Starcevic goes laterally. Goes to Kadeem Coleman. Now he goes backwards inside defensive 50 to Harris Andrews, but he just stands there and awaits his options. No pressure at all. He goes to halfback, Gardner, and he chips it forward. Now the other side of the field in front of us, you've got Calamachi, but Carlton are set up nicely in front of them.
They should have gone there early too, the big fella Harris Andrews, but anyway, they're chipping it around, trying to get through as they've decided to do all game.
Archie chips it back to Gardner. Very wide chip, picked up by Danaher near the boundary line. Hand pass infield to Coleman. Rode the tackle of Owies to hand pass back to Archie. Now the long kick to a contest on 50. McStay crashes the pack, can't mark. Rode by Walsh of Carlton. Hand pass from Dow, turned over straight to Matheson of Brisbane. Hand pass to McCluggage, 40 out. Hand pass to Bailey in the left forward pocket. Zach Bailey steadies and scores. And that's 5 for the Lions. And a 35-point lead early in the second term Brisbane 5-7-37. Carlton 2 behinds on Grandstand AFL with Matt Primus and Jason Ackermanis.
They're still trying to go just that short, but really quick if they can on the 45s. They got held up then, but very good there from the defensive. Kitty Coleman gets involved, but then the long kick in, and luck's a fortune. But I tell you what, the thing I like about Zach Bailey, he can turn so quick and get onto his dominant foot, and he's so dangerous, so agile.
Yeah, just the perceived pressure. I'm not sure who it was in the Carlton player that fired out the handball, but just the perceived pressure, you overcooked it, and that's just another easy goal on turnover here. And they're bringing heat, Brisbane, but also the perceived pressure of Carlton just coughing up the ball. And it's the game right on their terms at the moment, Brizzy.
23 tackles to 15, boys, and they're winning.
And having a look at the intercepts as well, the turnovers, they're well in favour of Carlton. As Lyons gets the clearance, kicks it towards half forward off the hands of Matheson, rowed by McCarthy, tackled into the ground beautifully by Sam Doherty, buries him into the arc of 50. The umpire will come in and ball it up.
Destroying, they're getting the hands on the ball all day, Brisbane.
McInerney double fist the contest, but it went to Sard, tackled by Bailey, just got a hand pass clear to half back, but met by Coleman of Brisbane. The smooth mover from the Morningside Panthers kicks Brisbane into attack. DeConing makes the spoil, but the ricochet rode by Hipwood of Brisbane. Hands to Archie, hands to Rayner, hands out the back to Hipwood. Right foot snap to the pocket, numbers are plenty. Matheson takes the mark. He takes the mark 30 metres out, slightly to the right, and whatever weapon that Reece Matheson uses in salute is being loaded as we speak.
He pushed super hard on Cripps then, as we said, he matched up on him at stoppage, pushed super hard once they won the ball.
He went forward. Sard was actually on him. I think they've moved Cripps out of the midfield and Matheson's gone forward, so it'd be good for him to kick this goal.
Just his 5th game of the season, racked up massive numbers in the VFL to earn his way back into the senior team. Matheson misses near side. Another one that probably should have been kicked. 5-8-38 to 2 behind. Same.
Isn't it bad news, guys, when you get a pink slip and you're at work? Luke Power on the Carlton coaching panel just handed a pink slip to Jack Silvani. Don't know what was written on it, but he didn't get exactly upset when he read it.
Well, there you go. We'll find out exactly what it says.
New contract.
Yeah, he might have actually got the new one too. You triggered a clause as the ball gets held up underneath Matty Owies by Brandon Starcevich right in front of the grandstand commentary box on the wing in the shade at the Gabba. Umpire throws it up now. Big Tom DeConing and Oscar McInerney at their feet. Taken by Cripps. Handball goes backwards to Doherty. Now forwards to Chera by hand. He lays his boot into it. Flying Daniel Rich fisted it forward. Archie absolutely crunched by Paddy Cripps. Lions players come in to remonstrate and Archie's down. The ball spills though. Umpire says play on. Cam Rayner to right half forward over the back. Here's McStay. Gathers. Tackled by Sard. Ball spills. Umpire comes in and says there's going to be a free kick. It'll go to Sard.
Don't know about that.
First replay of the contact. Cripps got his elbow in the head of Archie and is in real trouble.
He left the ground and took his eyes off the ball and took out an opposition player. A sign of frustration there from the great Paddy Cripps.
Cal Archie has been attended to by the trainers. He's tried to get up. He's concussed and will be out of the game. And there will be massive postscript for the Carlton captain with that contact. Down the line towards half forward, the mark taken by Curnow with the Blues. Archie is still on haunches in front of us. Meanwhile, on the other side of the ground, Charlie Curnow has it 70 metres out at right half forward for the Blues. Chips short to the leading Mackay.
Just making sure here with that.
Mackay runs infield, 60 metres out, left foot drop, punt towards the goal square. McInerney spoils the pack, rode by Coleman, hand pass back to the Big O, whose kick doesn't have intent to stay in play, I'd suggest. And the umpire agrees. Free kick Carlton to be taken by O'Brien. Meanwhile, the opposite number 4, Archie, is finally to his feet and being walked very slowly towards the bench on the opposite side of the ground. O'Brien chips in field marked by Nunes. And he of the Ice of Veins from Perth a couple of seasons ago has a chance to kick Carlton's first goal 12 and a half minutes into the second term. Lots happening here.
Safe to say, I think they need this one, just to give himself something, some reward for going for. Cribs in trouble though, isn't he, boys?
All Brownlow markets suspended.
Yes.
As Pat Cripps may be as well. Here's Nunes from 45 out, pushes it across the face of goal to the opposite pocket and out of play. Off hands, boundary throw in. Zane, can you call Kalarchi in?
Yeah, look, to be honest with you, it doesn't look that bad. Look, he's obviously going to get inspected here now with the head assessment, but I think he might be okay, guys.
He was running off, wasn't he?
Throw in right forward pocket, and it's for the Blues. It's taken by De Koning. Turn around on the left foot, has a snap. It goes to the goal square. Scramble between players. It's taken off the deck, and there's a free kick, and it's a high shot. It's going to go to, it looks like, Patrick Cripps. And the crowd are enjoying that from the Carlton perspective, not so much from the Brisbane perspective. So Paddy Cripps will come in and get Carlton's first goal of the game. And they come in and give him some as well, the Brisbane players, including Darcy Gardner. 5-8-38 is Brisbane, 1-2-8 Carlton. It is a 30-point ball game, nearly 14 gone, second term on ABC Sport. Zane Bojak's on the boundary.
Just confirming, guys, I'm no doctor. No sooner had I said that he looked okay, that Mitch Robinson has taken his vest off. He's getting ready to come out there to play, and they have subbed him in.
We haven't seen many replays, but there are two collisions here. I think there's a collision with the elbow and a bad collision with head on ground. With Kalarchi.
Yeah, we're just
now we're getting another one, and on cue, elbow in the head limp and smashed into ground.
That doesn't look good at all for Paddy Cripps.
Jumping off the ground is the killer for him.
And eyes off the ball.
Once you do that, you're in trouble.
He may not play for Carlton beyond today for the rest of the season.
Of the year.
It's going to be bad.
And we'll leave it at that, but that's how bad it is as we continue this contest. Carlton getting one finally as Neil applies a tackle in the middle on Chera from the ball up. Keeps it in the contest. McCarthy with a hand pass to McCluggage, got it to Coleman. High kick from the middle towards attacking 50. Cameron flew, couldn't mark. Rode by Doherty of the Blues. Desperate clearance from defensive 50, bounces towards the wing. Gathered by O'Brien of the Blues, kicks to the leading Owies. Takes the mark in front of Answorth. Hand passes off his rump to get it to Walsh. Walsh has kicked a half forward through the hands of Martin. Walsh follows up, butters it out of play, and he's hurt too, Sam Walsh, holding his ear as the ball ricochets out. Now there's a little bit going on. There was a little drive-by stinger there, was there?
Little knee in the back of the ear, I think it was, but is he trying to hurdle him?
Okay. There's a bit happening.
Accidental.
15 and a half second term. Carlton 5-8-38. Brisbane 5-8-38. Carlton 1-2-8.
The blood pressure rising at the Gabba on both sides. Now off hands in the ruck contest. Jared Lyons takes it. Gathered by Walsh. Umpire will come in and ball it up.
You've got the seconds here. The second ruckman's in the middle here.
So it's Lewis Young versus Dan McStay. Off their hands. O'Brien, the handball to Chera, under pressure, tumbles at the left half forward over the head of Martin, gathered by Curnow, wheels around onto the right, off the hands of Mackay, he gathers now, Fisher knocked off it, picked up by Gardner, he tumbles it outside defensive 50, O'Brien and the specimen, well, the specimen landed on top of Lockie O'Brien, but the little fella got up and the ball went over the boundary line.
Head clash, they both clashed heads.
Oh dear, I tell you what, and
might have hurt his knee too.
Lockie O'Brien must have a hard melon because the specimen's the specimen.
I thought he ran into his elbow. This must be a cat's head.
Cut his cheek here.
Well, they've let him. Why are we waiting for the boundary?
Blood rule.
Because it's a blood rule.
Well, they have called blood rule, have they?
Lockie O'Brien.
O'Brien's going off the ground, rightio, because Adams is still out there. Right.
Set a rest. Here we go. We've got the great Bruce Willis about to throw it in. Hopefully he goes a bit deeper today than he has been.
This is a cross-genre because we've got Bruce Willis throwing it in front of the Blues Brothers.
On attacking 50 for Carlton. Play restarted. Clean possession for McStay in the ruck for Brisbane. Swivels and an up and under kick to half back. McCarthy flies and takes a juggler. No, didn't have a big enough bite second time. Play on. Stolen by Cripps of Carlton. Hand pass tapped down from Owies to Nunes. And Nunes says, put that in your pipe and smoke it, Lions fan.
They're not happy. They shouldn't be happy. There was a mark that should have been paid. It's on over here.
And there's more spot fires around the place as the Blues get two in a row. Jack Nunes narrows the deficit to 4 goals at 5-8-38 to 2-2-14.
Well, the Cripps incident's ignited Carlton. It wasn't a great incident, but it certainly ignited them, and they've lifted here the last 3 or 4 minutes with their attack on the ball.
They needed something, and the irony is probably Cripps will be out for a few weeks, but But then again, as we go down to the boundary, that was a bit unlucky for McCarthy.
Bit of spice in this one, Zano.
Oh, isn't it what? There's bushfires everywhere. And Cripps has come off here and he's got hardly any jersey left on him, so they've got to get a new one for him.
I think they might have a few, and it's a spicy meatball we've got, fellas, now.
And this is the Gabba. There's a battle in the stands as well out in the field, Pricey.
And they're giving it to some of the Lions fans as well, as Walsh wins his first clearance, gets it back now to Doherty. Doherty chips it forward. Nicely weighted. Cottrell runs onto the bounce, gets the left foot inside 50. Over the back, Silvani flies. Roved by Motlop. He gathers, goes around, and picks another one for the Blues, 3 in a row.
Just like that.
5-8-38 plays 3-2-20. It's back to a 3-goal ball game, if you believe it. 18 and a half gone, second term on ABC Sport.
Hasn't Cottrell got some wheels, Mattress? He was
wheels.
out, another red head. They are always quick, and of course Motlop, he is dangerous, but he's very agile. I think he had about 4 half fakes before he finally kicked it, and kicked it truly. They're back in it now.
Well, a great centre bounce win too. Their last two have come off a good centre bounce wins. That's their first 2 for the game, but they get it in there, and as we said, Carlton got a very potent forward line if they can get it in there quickly.
And all of a sudden, 3 goals the diff, and it feels like we've got a contest on our hands, which certainly wasn't the case a mere 4 or 5 minutes ago when Carlton hadn't kicked a goal.
You see Danaher's on the wing here, so just like you said pre-game, Matty, just mixing it up.
De Koning to do battle with McInerney in the ruck. 3 goals to lead to Brisbane. They led by 6 a short time ago. De Koning taps down. Rode by Dow. Hand pass to Cherrick. Clearance Carlton. Rush ball to half forward. Rolls along the deck and inside 50. Met by Silvani. Couldn't gather. Robinson, the subs out there for Brisbane against his old club. Mitch Robbo's hand pass. Well, came back to him. He's under pressure. Tried to farm out a handball there. Zorko will pick up for the Lions at left half back. Got some space to kick a high ball to the wing. Cherra's underneath it though for the Blues and takes the mark. He's going to kick it infield, Adam Cherra. Marked by McGovern, forward of the wing, probe him entry to the pocket. Silvani couldn't get there under the hassling of Gardner. Ball bounces before the line and out of play for a throw-in with Carlton in attack in the right forward pocket. Brisbane 5-8-38, Carlton 3-2-20.
So the umpire in the bright sunshine in the right forward pocket. Short throw in taken by McInerney, tackled into the ground, he let loose the ball. Now, I don't know whether it was Bruce Willis or not, but that was a short throw in.
A shocker, no, it wasn't Bruce.
And well, look, McInerney had to go and get it, therefore was disadvantaged to a degree.
And Owies has made the tackle.
Wow.
Well, Owies is going to line up. Joe Danaher standing the mark, so there's the long and short of it. Matthew Owies.
Should have called it back, the umpire, like you do in the little leagues, the Oz kick, because that was terrible.
So, Matthew Owies, to put Carlton within a couple of goals, you thought they were almost dead and buried about a few minutes ago. He's 40 metres out, but he's on a tight angle. He leans back on it, and you can tell by the crowd at that end, predominantly Brisbane, that he has missed it. 5-8-38. Plays 3-3-21 at 17 points the margin now in favour of the Lions.
Daniel Rich taking his time about this kick in. Runs to the left back pocket and a high long kick to the half back flank. Danaher the target, spoiled away by McGovern and out of play. Boundary throw in. If you have just tuned in, Sydney defeated North Melbourne by 38 points. They are underway in the West. We'll get an update in just a moment with Josh Kennedy playing the last game of his illustrious career for the Eagles against the Crows. But a fair bit happening here at the moment. Boundary throw in.
Sorry, Keita.
De Koning.
Danaher behind the ball.
Is he?
Like
okay.
That's why he's there. That's why he's on the wing before.
Yeah, which is, I wonder if that's an outcome of last week's game where they couldn't stop Richmond's momentum.
Well, Zorko's got a free kick from that throw in.
That was another short throw in, by the way.
Yeah, De Koning went and got it and got tackled. So Zorko kicks backwards.
They've got one job, those blokes.
Marked it by Andrews. And Harris has got his arms wheeling around saying, where am I going to kick it to? The ump now says, play on. Andrews chips it very short. Coleman takes the mark still on the left half back flank. Lions leading by 17 points.
They're trying to hang on to it here to take the sting out of the game with Carlton on top.
Kadeen Coleman. Well, they just had a bit of a run, the Blues, as Coleman goes long down beyond centre wing. Big fly from both Hipwood and McCarthy. Now, it's been rewarded to Eric Hipwood, who was the last man up in that pack. Nice mark taken, just forward to centre wing. Now it's a long kick towards the pocket and misses everybody. Bounces inside, but over the boundary line. We'll get a throw in the left forward pocket.
Good result by Bridgie. They get it down their end and get a chance for their backs to take a breath here.
Joey just going off for a bit of a rest. I'll see if they what they do with the spare man behind the ball, but who cares now? Have a shot on goal.
17 the difference. Brisbane lead. Again, throwing not of great depth. Zorko tries to crush through, lost the ball. Doherty picks up. Rush kick for the Blues to D50. Martin meets it for Carlton, tackled over the line by Rich, and a boundary throw-in. So the game now underway over in the west with the Eagles taking on the Crows. Aaron Bryans keeping us across what's happening there. Aaron.
Straight 18, West Coast yet to score 5 minutes in.
So that's Adelaide 3 straight to West Coast yet to score. Thanks, Aaron. Throw in to Koning. Got a hand. Couldn't get really the telling stat. Somehow the hand pass to Setterfield. He to Chera's hand pass over the line and was somewhat locked at that boundary line area. Left half forward there for the Lions. Lead by 17 points.
They have improved, Carlton. They're back in this game.
They certainly are as McInerney gets it down now. It's rowed by Paddy Dow. Wheels around onto the right shoe and kicks it towards the wing. Beautiful fist by Marcus Adams for the Lions. Rowed by Jared Lyons for the Lions. Now handball through to Zorko. Inside 50. Sard versus Cameron both holding. Cameron by hand. Handball McStay into the goal square. And a goal for Brisbane. 6-8-44 plays 3-3-21, 23 points the margin now. The Lions 25 gone. Second term on ABC Sport. How about the contest from Charlie Cameron?
Well, it was actually the Matheson there, if you watch the replay, just picks it up beautifully. And Charlie was in that contest. Usually you don't give it back to the guy who just was in that contest. But Charlie'd already had separation. And Charlie's vision fantastic. And Eric's just floating out the back and the easiest of easy goals, Mattress.
Well, it was, and built by they just a bit more patient with the ball, able to transfer it up there into the ground, and then we know they're pretty dangerous in their forward 50 arc. So it'll be interesting to see from this centre bounce again, because the last one, both breezy wingers went straight behind the ball to try and support their defence here. So I wonder if they'll continue that method or try and get on the front foot and attack again.
Well, that was McStay kicked that goal. I think I said it was Eric. It was McStay.
Yeah, important goal for Brisbane, breaking a run of 3 for Carlton. Lions back out by 23 points. Centre bounce. Clearance for the Blues. Cripps rumbles at the half forward. Motlop pushed off the ball, but picked up by Walsh. Hand pass. And the inside 50 gathered on the half volley by Mackay. Under pressure. Hand pass went to Fisher. 40 out. Got onto his left. Kick towards the goal mouth. Is across the face and a behind. And the lead is 22 at 6-8-44 to 3-4-22. Zane Bojack.
Yeah, Lockie O'Brien's just come back out from the dressing room. I think he's got stitches in that right cheek. He's got bandages over the top of it as well. Jeez, it was bleeding a lot when he came off.
Brisbane now with the ball in the right back pocket. Cam Rayner goes right to the other pocket to find Gardner. Gardner to left half back now to the run of Zorko. In the sunshine, peels around. Beautiful lead, beautiful kick to the wing. And it is Charlie Cameron. He goes on the 45 kick, peels it off. Paddy Dow pulled out of the contest. Eric Hipwood jumped into it, took the mark, kicks it inside 50. And Link McCarthy, well, he is brutal 101 for a man his size. Takes a wonderful mark against Jack Nunes, and it'll be a shot from around about 35 out, but a slight angle to the left.
Tell you what, though, that run from Charlie, the gather, obviously gets the mark, and he saw Eric Hipwood coming through the true centre-half forward area, hit him up, and then the whole forward 50's open. So Lincoln McCartney can thank his good mate Charlie Cameron for that one. That was just terrific.
Link McCarthy is a superb kick for goal. I shouldn't say that as a commentator, but 65% goal accuracy. Comes in from 45. Let the crowd tell the story for Link McCarthy. His first goal, and the Lions get their 7th. 7-8-50, plays 3-4-22. Back to 28 points the margin. It's 27 gone in the second term. Michael Price with Quentin Hull. Your experts on ABC Sport, Jason Ackermanis and Matthew Primus.
Good, great response from Bridgie. They got back to 18 points at Carlton, and even though there's not great around the contest, Bridgie, they've been really assured with their ball movement, being able to give it down and give their forwards great opportunity and bounce back out by 10 points. So a great response to get the momentum back their way and get the scoreboard ticking back their way too.
He's had a good game, McCarthy. Don't worry about that. Obviously 1 goal, 1 today, but sealed 8 touches. Very efficient. He's been probably the Lions' best so far.
Well, that's now 31 goals this year, Jason, and his best return was last season where he kicked 36.
Oh, good work.
So certainly having a productive season in front of goal. Centre bounce, favoured McInerney. DeConing got the touch over the top, but rode by McCluggage of Brisbane. Hand pass to Neil, kicked a half forward. Cameron met it, couldn't mark, but then he ricocheted into Dow and the ball fell into his hands. Hand pass to Bailey, 1-2, bang from 50! And Bailey's got another one for Brisbane. And the leather magnets on the palms of Charlie Cameron had something to do with that.
How lucky was that? The Irishman, Rick O'Shea, straight to him, and then you're running flat nagger towards goal. And the handball over to Bailey. Zach Bailey, geez, he's good in front of goals. He just straightens up. He's just
2 or 3 steps, wasn't it? Bang.
Run straight, kick straight.
Bailey with his second. Brisbane back out by 34 at 8-8-56 to 3-4-22.
Yeah, a couple of good wins in the middle of the ground, which got the ball in their end of the ground. And Charlie Cameron led at it. Sard's closing speed pretty good, isn't it? But then you're able to bang back, pop in his chest there. And, they've been very efficient the last 3 or 4 inside 50s, Brisbane.
What about McLavitt's handball? Over the top of his head to a 2 free men. That's
amazing.
just brilliant vision.
Well, a part of that continued education of playing inside, Jace.
Yes, definitely.
From the ruck contest, McInerney wins the clearance, kicks it immediately to the top of the 50. Big pack of players flying, and the Lions are gathering in numbers as McCluggage takes it. Handball back to Mitch Robinson on the slipper immediately to the pocket. That's a really good mark taken by Jacob Wiedering. It was 2-on-1 there for Carlton, but he took the defensive mark. Now he chips it over into the pocket to Walsh. He wants to play on under pressure. That's just a nothing kick that went to Cripps. Cripps was nudged out of it there by Locke Neal, but he was advantaged by that kick being an up and under. Now Lockie Neal lowers the eyes, tries to hit Cameron on a lead. Ball skids through to the pocket. Walsh gathers. He's tackled. Loses the ball now. McStay can't pick it up. Sard can. Gets it out. Contest 1-on-1 between Silvani and Lyons. Behind that, though, it's going to be a free kick to Harry Mackay against Harris Andrews.
Second kick for the day here for Harry. He's had a bit of a cold day.
He's a long way from home at right half back. Harry Mackay kicking Carlton down the outer wing to a contest to Koning. Takes a fine 1 clunk mark in front of McInerney. What an exciting player he is. Rolls on with the left boot, kicks Carlton from the wing into attack. Owies had it fisted away by Coleman. Ground level Berry for Brisbane. Gave it to Rich under pressure. Got tackled. Flings a hand pass clear. Got it to Neal. Lines are out. Hand pass from Neal to McCluggage at half back. Hand pass to Rayner as he runs to the centre of the ground. Kick to half forward to the running Bailey. 5 steadying steps this time. And he missed the kick. Got run down from behind anyway. Great chase from McGovern. Bailey misses on the run from straight in front. 40 out. 35 the difference at 8-9-57 to 3-4-22.
What about the kick from Rayner? Had Charlie Cameron long, but just went in that short 45, and Zach Bailey didn't realise didn't have as much time as he thought.
Yeah, just took that 1 or 2 extra steps in that situation as Adam Sard now. Long kick towards the outer side. Harris Andrews flies for Brisbane off his fist. Kadeem Coleman roves, and he's smothered by his opposite number 18 in Sam Walsh. Over the boundary line, we'll get a throw in on the outer side at left half forward for Brisbane.
About a minute left, boys, you'd say, in this half?
About a minute 17, in fact, Ackett. No, you're not bad. You're better than you are on
measurement. Sure, they're holding up the sides there over there on the bench. But that was illegal when Kevin Sheedy tried to do it?
A lot of things were illegal, like tying windsocks down at Windy Hill and things like that, so the opposition team didn't know the breeze. On the outside now, long kick from Carlton's Curnow, towards Curnow. It's fisted away from him by Daniel Rich. Rich gathers along the ground, though, taps it towards Marcus Adams, and the specimen tries to shrug off another human being. This time, it doesn't happen. That was a really good tackle from the smaller man in Matthew Owies.
It looked like a death roll of a
crocodile. Did too.
McInerney taps down clearly to Robinson. No Carlton ruckman in that contest. Robinson's kick to halfway, marked by Hipwood. Turns, plays immediately with a kick to Cameron in the pocket. Sard nudges him to ground level. Play on, Carlton numbers get back. Young with a hand pass to Wiedering at fullback. Chip with a left boot marked by McGovern, who's going to roll on, kick it to Cottrell, who's got space to mark and roll on from half back. Cottrell runs towards the members' wing, kicks the Blues into attack, turns it over. Kicked it to 2-on-1 against Harry Mackay. Andrews marks, Mackay crunched him, made him earn it. Mark, free kick, either or.
Yeah, Jack Martin all by himself. Should have hit him up and then got the overlap, but chose to try and go to Mackay again, who draws a lot of the ball. Another turnover.
Just the 1-2 there, Gather. as laconically accepted from the kick of Harris Andrews. Marcus Adams just got in front of Cottrell. Right in front of the grandstand commentary box, there's the siren for half-time, and it's an intriguing contest, but the home side put their foot down and have established a 35-point lead. The Brisbane Lions 8-9-57 to Carlton's 3-4-22. That's after a 35-point margin. That's after Carlton led by 29 at quarter time, so they only extended it by the 6 points. Your goal scorers for Brisbane: Zach Bailey's got a couple, McCarthy, Zorko, McStay, Cameron, Neal, Berry with the singles, and for Carlton it's just the single goal kickers in Motlop, Cripps and Nunes.
So Brisbane by 29 at quarter time, now 35 at half time, having kicked 4 goals 3 to Carlton's 3 goals 3 in that term, all 3 to the Blues, coming in a close clump. We'll get to the news in just a moment. A few quick thoughts from Matty and Jace in a tick, but let's get to the West with JK's farewell underway, with the Eagles taking on Aaron Bryant's.
Q time on in the first. The Crows lead by 17 points, 4 straight 24 to West Coast 117. The milestone men are on the board, so Rory Laird has 2 in game 200, including the first of the game. Josh Kennedy has 1 in his 293rd and final game. The Crows looking a bit cleaner moving the ball, but it has been fairly chaotic and fast-paced. The Eagles just turning it over a fair bit. So Adelaide leading by 17 points with 7 to play in the first. 4 straight 24, West Coast 117.
Thanks, Aaron. And that after Sydney defeated North Melbourne by 38 points at Docklands. The Swans 18-18, 126 to North Melbourne's 13-10, 88. Auskick kids coming out. A thought or two from Jason Ackermanis and Matt Primus at halftime, with Brisbane leading by 35 points.
It was a better effort, wasn't it, Mattress? I mean, particularly from Carlton, obviously well beaten in the first quarter by Brisbane midfield. Brisbane, though, their pressure, to their credit, has been awesome all game.
It has been.
You know, and Cripps, he could be in trouble, but he's certainly playing a big game again, carrying him on his shoulders as he does. But I just thought their forward entries just looked a bit sharper. They're getting nothing from their big guys, but they're really finding a way just to hang in there. I know they're 5 goals, nearly 6 goals behind, but if they can do that again for another quarter and then stop the Lions from getting that those quick, this almost easy goals through the middle, then they could be back in the game by 3/4 time.
No, you're exactly right. They did lift their intensity. It was +6 in the clearances. Carlton, the contested possession was equal, but +13 inside 50s to Brizzy. When Brizzy got it in there, Carlton won it back. There was just no room for Carlton to go anywhere. They just kicked a contest all the time, and Brisbane won them. And unless they try and change that somehow by playing a bit more active with the ball in hand, or pin Brisbane when they get it inside 50, they're not going to win the game, because their effort was good enough, but their ability to come out of their back half and either turn the ball over or don't find any easy passes or their teammates is what's costing them the game.
Top of mind thought with the Patrick Cripps collision on Cal Archie.
Yeah, he's in trouble, mainly because he jumped. Like the hip and shot, if you jump into somebody, you're in big trouble. And then Cal's obviously gone off and
subbed out of the game.
Subbed out of the game, gone off with a head knock, it looked like it. So leaving the feet, you lose all your duty of care, then gone. So, yeah, it's going to be a hefty suspension, I would have thought.
He not only did he jump, he stopped looking at the ball, which is a bad sign. Plus, he caught him with an elbow.
I don't think the elbow got him that hard, but it got him enough to then Cal was in no control of his body as it smashed into the Gabbard deck.
Yeah, that's a good 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, betting for the Brownlow is hard enough, but he is out. He will certainly get weeks.
Yep,
he should get weeks.
We'll wait to see what happens, but that's part of the storyline here at halftime. Brisbane leading by 35 points. The Lions 8-9-57, the Blues 3-4-22. On our way to the newsroom in the National Rugby League today, North Queensland defeated Canterbury Bankstown, where that game played in front of a sold-out crowd in regional Queensland in Bundaberg. Cowboys 28 over the Bulldogs 14. And currently, half an hour in, the Newcastle Knights 8, leading the West Tigers 0. Halftime at the Gabba, Lions by 35 points on this Sunday of Sport Through Grandstand AFL. We'll be back after the latest from the newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. China's embassy in Canberra has taken aim at Australia, the United States and Japan, condemning their stance on Beijing's military exercises around Taiwan. China's been conducting large-scale drills, including firing ballistic missiles over Taiwan, following a decision by US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to visit the island last week. Yesterday, Australia's Foreign Minister Penny Wong, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and Japanese Foreign Minister Hayashi Yoshimasa issued a joint statement demanding an end to the military exercises. A spokesperson for the Chinese embassy in Australia says it's absolutely unacceptable for the countries to issue the demands, arguing China is the victim of ongoing provocation by the United States. Israel says it will continue to stand up to terrorist organizations as cross-border clashes enter a third day. The Israeli military is targeting members of the Islamic Jihad group in response to an estimated 300 Palestinian rockets and mortars being fired since Friday. The Palestinian Territory's health ministry says 24 people have been killed in the Gaza Strip, including 6 children, but Israeli government spokesperson Kieran Hijoff says they have video evidence showing Islamic Jihad rockets hitting civilians.
There was no Israeli activity in the Gaza Strip, in that area, or at that time. Islamic Jihad is killing Palestinian children in Gaza. 1 in 4 rockets fired from Gaza towards Israel lands inside the Gaza Strip.
The US Senate is to debate a landmark Biden administration bill which could see record spending to try to mitigate global warming. More from the BBC's Peter Bowes.
Joe Biden is on the verge of seeing this colossal spending bill become a reality. It encompasses a vast range of measures that focus on the president's campaign promise to tackle climate change. $370 billion will be spent on clean energy projects, tax credits for Americans who buy an electric vehicle, subsidies for those who install solar panels, and grants for home renovation projects in underprivileged communities to improve energy efficiency. It also includes measures to tackle disparities in healthcare, with new rules to lower the cost of prescription drugs and improve access to childcare.
Authorities in New South Wales have issued evacuation orders for parts of Wagga Wagga in the state's Riverina region as floodwaters there continue to rise. With the water tip to reach 8.7 metres at Wagga, the New South Wales State Emergency Service says anyone in and around low-lying areas of the city must leave by 6 o'clock tonight. Roads and power are expected to be cut and evacuation centres open at the Wagga showgrounds. A man's in hospital after a boat capsized in Sydney Harbour. 2 passengers were on board the vessel as it rolled over in the water at Quarantine Bay this afternoon. 1 man was treated by paramedics at the scene. The other man was sent to Northern Beaches Hospital in a stable condition. A 3-year-old boy is fighting for his life after being pulled from a lake in central Victoria. Emergency services were called to Lake Eaglehawk just before midday after the child was pulled unresponsive from the water. He's been flown to the Royal Children's Hospital in a critical condition. WA has recorded 2,361 new cases of COVID-19. The update includes 10 deaths dating back to the 27th of July, 4 people in their 90s, 4 in their 80s, 1 in their 70s and 1 in their 60s. There are currently 342 people with the virus in hospital in WA. 14 people are in ICU. Western Australia now has just under 20,000 active infections. Meantime, Tasmania's daily COVID case numbers are continuing to decline, with PCR testing to begin screening for other respiratory illnesses. Mahalia Carter has more.
Tasmania has recorded 4 new COVID-related deaths overnight, bringing the total number since the start of the pandemic to 156. The number of new infections has again dropped, with 527 new infections recorded in the past day, down from 651 in the previous reporting period. There are around 4,700 active cases, with more than half in the state's south. Starting this week, anyone who has a PCR test at a state-run clinic will have their sample analysed for influenza A, influenza B and RSV, as well as COVID.
And in WA, a man has been charged over the sexual assault of a woman on Broom's Cable Beach. Police allege a woman in her 40s was jogging early on Friday morning when she was approached by a man who grabbed and assaulted her. Yesterday afternoon, detectives executed a search warrant at a local hotel and arrested a 52-year-old man from the Perth suburb of Midland. He's been charged with 3 counts of aggravated sexual penetration without consent. ABC News.
Hello, I'm Patrick Stack, and if you like great stories and you enjoy sport, then I reckon you need ABC Sport Daily in your life.
Potentially, he's throwing fuel onto the fire.
He was famous for kicking spectacular goals
without having some international hotshot come in and pretend that they know more than they do. And I really do think that that's made a difference.
Got another call from my agent, sort of letting me know, welcome to the NBA.
It's been a terrific 2 weeks for track and field in Australia.
It's a daily sports conversation, and it's called ABC Sport Daily. Find us on the Listen app.
Lend us your ears and experience a world of audio content with ABC Listen.
A world of sound.
Like the new pop culture podcast, Schmeitgeist, decoding the biggest trends this year.
I saw a trend happening on TikTok, basically, I've never seen before.
Trash reality TV. It is my favorite thing in the world.
And for the kids, Dynodome.
T-Rex is ahead. Check out those lunges.
The ABC Listen app.
Lend me your ears.
Download it now from your app store. The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL. On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Flying Daniel Rich fisted it forward. Archie absolutely crunched by Paddy Cripps. Lions players come in to remonstrate and Archie's down.
Cripps got his elbow in the head of Archie and is in real trouble.
De Koning turned around on the left foot, has a snap, it goes to the goal square. Scramble between players, it's taken off the deck and there's a free kick and it's a high shot. It's going to go to, it looks like Patrick Cripps. So Paddy Cripps will come in and get Carlton's first goal of the game. Cottrell runs onto the bounce, gets the left foot inside 50, over the back, Silvani flies, roved by Motlop, he gathers, goes around and kicks another one for the Blues, 3 in a row.
Neil kicked the half forward, Cameron met it, couldn't mark, but then he ricocheted into Down, the ball fell into his hands, hand pass to Bailey, 1-2 bang from 50! And Bailey's got another one for Brisbane.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
The bump from skipper Cripps to come under scrutiny. The Blues with 3 in a row to get it back within 3 goals before Brisbane kicked the last 3 goals of the second term. There, the storylines as we welcome you back to the Gabba at half-time. My name is Quentin Hull. We are ABC Sport through Grandstand AFL. Brisbane 8-9-57, leading Carlton 3-4-22. That was after the Lions led by 29 points at quarter time. Got it out to 6 goals, but then the Blues kicked 3 in a row to get it back to 3 goals. But as mentioned, Brisbane with the better of the back end of that term to steady the ship and to be 35 points in front at half-time. Earlier today, Sydney defeated North Melbourne by 38 points. The Swans 18-18, 126 over North's 13-10-88. And we've just hit quarter time in the West in the game between the Eagles and the Adelaide Crows. Aaron Bryans.
3-point margin, Q. The Crows up 4 straight 24 to West Coast 3-21. The Eagles 3 goals coming through. Who else? Josh Kennedy in his final game. He's set the crowd alight. He's certainly soaking it in at the moment. Adelaide, meanwhile, Rory Laird kicked 2 of theirs in game 200. They looked pretty lively early, but the Eagles starting to clean up their inside 50 entries. So they've really reduced that deficit now to 3 points. Looks like it's a bit of a feisty game out there as well, and certainly a lot of emotion with the milestones heading in.
Good on you, Aaron.
Q, that's an interesting thing. Josh Kennedy, his final game for the West Coast Eagles. Have we seen the last of the other Josh Kennedy, who has done another hamstring?
Apparently hurt himself in the VFL today. Yeah.
So that's and will he be coming back? That could be damaging for him at the end of his career as well. So let's hope we haven't lost.
Mind you, Swan's going all right without him at the moment.
Oh, of course. But, he's worked very hard to get back, and that's
a handy one to call on for John Longmire after. Sydney won by 38 points today, and reports of Josh Kennedy hurting himself. That's the Swans' Josh Kennedy on his way back from a soft tissue injury. Matt promised, Jason Ackermanis, a few more thoughts from you as we go through the joy of watching Auskick kids out in the middle again. I know we didn't have it for a couple of years, but just a reminder of what a great thing it is to have all that stuff back at the footy.
It's so funny. You see the girls are down there, they're just relaxing, and the boys are talking to each other. The game is going on, but what I do want to see in this quarter, I want to see if Michael Voss has just got that courage to just chuck in Fisher in the middle or just do something different, because his midfield has not got enough run. Jack Martin, I know, can go up there and play either on a wing or in the midfield, just a pinch hit, just give them something different to look at, because they are getting dominated at all times in the midfield, and they're just not getting enough run and carry out of their very good prime movers. You're just that good at winning the ball, Matty.
No, you're right, they're not winning the ball, and it's that turnover stuff. As we mentioned last week, Carlton had the most turnovers they've had and scored against, and today's game, Brizzy have kicked 5 goals, 4 from turnover. Most of that accurate be from coming out of their backline, Carlton. They've just got the ball and there's been either nothing on or they've just had some really poor mistakes that have cost them a lot of the ball inside 50 there. So they need to tidy that up, and the best way to do that excuse me, is to make sure the ball doesn't live down in your back half. So you've got to get in their front half, score or lock the ball in, which they haven't been able to do at all, apart from that 5 or 10 minute period after Cripps got himself reported, they've been able to lift.
Isn't that a... Oh, we'll talk about that another.
I think, though, the telling stat that's always interesting, and you always bring it up as a coach. You remember when you coach, not only are you beating them in the contested possessions, but you're also beating, which tells the opposition that Brisbane is winning there, but they're also winning the tackling stats, which means on the defensive side, you can see Carlton should have more tackles because they don't have the ball as much.
Yep.
It's not by much, but it just shows the difference in attitude, and you know they were going to come out and breathe fire, Brisbane, after last week's second horrendous half against Richmond. But that, for Vossi, is the one thing he wants to see more of. One, be better with the ball. When we don't have it, we've got to get our tackling, and we're going to make our tackles.
Simple, and that's what I mentioned after quarter time. That was the best I've seen Brisbane play, not only at the contest, ball in hand and locking the ball in, but their attack and shutting down space for Carlton was through the roof. And that's what Brisbane I'd seen last year. That's why they were so difficult to beat, especially up here. And look, they've got a fair bit to do, Carlton. As I mentioned, though, at the start of the game, Brisbane Lions have been the third worst defensive team in the second half the last 6 weeks. Ooh. So they'll be aware of that, and hence why it was a little bit interesting to see when Carlton got a run on, they put some numbers behind the ball, which I've really never seen Brisbane do this year. So it'll be interesting to see how they attack the second half here and what happens if Carlton get a bit of momentum going back their way. So something for Vossi to talk about, but you're right, they need their on-ballers to lift. They've been far too down, and we talk about their two big key forwards haven't had much of the ball. Well, they've been starved. I think they've had 13 or 16 inside 50s for the game.
Yes, so 41 to 17.
It's been some junk
17 inside 50 in a half a footy.
So those guys just haven't had a fair look at it. Neither has a Jack Martin and a Silvani and those sorts either. So, it really is on the midfield, and for the backs to be more composed when they win the ball from Brisbane's forwards.
Well, even to the point, as we see both teams are coming out on the field, and I see that the forwards are having a bit of a chin wag. You see the Lions just thinking about what they've been doing well. But again, this is the test for them this second half. Not only for Carlton, who are a very good second half team, and Brisbane are a terrible second half team, Pricey, but you've also got the sheer fact that your midfield's been so well beaten, yet you're still kind of in the game. It's not the end of the world, 5 goals, maybe 6 goals, but and just the best day of footy you'll ever have up here. So I don't know if Vossi, he's not really one to give sprays, but he certainly would ask some questions of his midfielders.
So his indicators, he'd be looking at the contested pill. So they're being more than competitive there as far as that goes. In fact, they're leading that by 5.
The stoppages, Pricey, that's where they've been smacked, mate, and that's where you lose your field position from.
So your clearance is 25 to...
Yeah, and there was some junk ones, Carlton won in there, but their centre bounce, it's 10-5 down or 9-4 down.
Yep.
But they haven't got anything out of the ones they have won, where Brizzy certainly have got a lot more territory out of them. That'd be a big thing they would have spoken about.
And Brisbane's got 6 marks inside 50 as well. Carlton, with the tall timber, it's just inconsequential, and that's purely because of the average delivery inside.
Average delivery, and Brizzy are bringing some fantastic heat, like Adelaide brought some great heat to Carlton last week.
I think also on the turnover, they've been able to run inside forward 50. I know Zach Bailey missed that goal, but they've had a couple of them where they've been able to generate shots. I really like the game of McCartney so far today, boys. He'd be probably their best player, but Zach Bailey...
You like McCarthy's game as well?
McCarthy, sorry. Jeez, I've done it again. McCarthy.
It's okay, Jake.
Oh, jeez, you're all over me.
No, that's
my
okay.
wife is a speech therapist. Should be all week. McCarthy.
I know David Megan will probably be saying, yep, keep Jason on that.
McCarthy, I think, no doubt that Zach Bailey had a wonderful second quarter, but you can see in the stats don't lie, I suppose, just even on the possession. Sardu's gone down with an ankle, but he seems to be going okay. But you saw that last contest. I reckon Charlie Cameron, and he's normally just as quick as Charlie, he put 10 metres on him really quickly running back towards goal. Obviously, the injury to Archie, that's a concussion, so good for Robinson. I'm glad they didn't take Ainsworth off when he had that ankle, because that's been a genius move, because he's been able to stay out there.
Well, it's a sign of how the game's gone with Sard, your number one possession winner, Doherty's equal second with Cripps, and then McGovern. So three of their backs have had a lot of the ball, and they've been under the pump, and they've turned the ball over along with a few others. So you need to turn that around pretty quickly.
Have you guys been in a scenario where you know that at half time you think, gee, I might be a chance of getting time? How does it affect the second half of your game? I'm just wondering what Pratt Cripps is thinking after that bump in the first quarter.
Usually I just say give it everything, don't you? You're just like, well, I could be having a couple of weeks off here, and I'm just going to run until I can't run no more.
Well, yeah, he should be thinking, well, I'm going to have a few weeks off, so I'm going to leave everything out here in the second half, and we've got a couple of weeks to recover.
Yeah, not cart before horse, but certainly he looks like he's in a fair bit of trouble, as are his team at half-time. 35 points of the lead for Brisbane. As the second half gets underway on Grandstand AFL, the bounce favoured McInerney up, let it go. McInerney spikes it towards half forward. Rayner gathers, hand pass to Zorko. Immediate entry to the hitting chest of Hipwood, who takes the mark on the lead, 40 metres out.
That was Zorko's goal, really. Just pushed his man off the ball, but that quick handball from Rayner to Zorko ends up.
Centre bounce went beyond the second circle. De Koning didn't have a chance to compete.
Yeah, he should have pulled it back.
McInerney gets the spiking clearance.
Yeah, he's got to pull it back. But umpires, they are human. Apparently they make mistakes. It's unbelievable, I know.
Now, who wants to recall the bounce to start the term?
I know. It's a bad look.
Hipwood, 45 degrees to the left of centre. 45 metres out to give the Lions their biggest lead of the game. The strike is left and behind. And it equals their biggest lead of the game at 6 goals neat. 8-10-58 to 3-4-22.
You're right, there was a poor effort from Doherty, though. It wasn't a real strong body from Zorko. He had to be stronger than that as one of their leaders.
Doherty plays on, goes long, straight down the middle of the ground. Ball dropped by the Lions, picked up by Walsh. Handball Chera. He toes it forward now to half forward. Fisher picks it up. Handball to the run of Owies. Shrugs off a high tackle. Umpire's called play on. He's kicked it inside 50. Patrick Cripps takes the mark regardless. So well taken as far as the advantage goes. So an immediate response could be coming up for the Blues via Patrick Cripps.
You saw then, Vossi's obviously said, down the middle, boys. Let's be more aggressive. That went all the way to the big and the little circle, right in the middle of the ground.
Well, he took off and had a couple of bounces as well. But Patrick Cripps kicked the first goal of the game for Carlton early on in the second quarter. Desperately needs to provide one here for Carlton.
It's a good kick too.
From 30 metres, he starts at left and kicks it a little bit wider than that, so it's only the one behind. 8-10-58. Plays 3-5-23, back to a 35-point margin. Zane Bojak's on the boundary.
Yeah, it's not good when your Medi-sub is also struggling, but Mitchie Robinson's been getting some work on his hip. He's still on the boundary line.
Clearance from the Lions. Rumble to a pack at half back, won by McCluggage. Hand pass to Bailey. His hand's too hot for Danaher, out of play. And a throw in near that bench that Zane Bojak's keeping a close eye on.
Bruce Willis has got it. Got the throw in there, see if he can make it a little bit longer than the last couple.
Most of the Gabba in afternoon shade now as the ball is thrown in. McInerney taps down beautifully to Lyons. Hand pass out the back to Bailey. Clearance Brisbane. Kick to half forward, read by Wiedering though. He takes the mark for the Blues. Kicks backwards to the reset at centre half back. Setterfield had to scurry to mark. Does. Kicks to the wing to an unmarked Mackay. Takes the grab on halfway member's side, and there she stops for the Blues. Mackay thinking, where do I go? Where do I go? Short. Around the boundary line. Chip pass marked by Setterfield. Still just forward of the wing for Carlton.
Too slow. They had Curnow one out, but now he's got numbers around him.
It's chess in front of him, Matt. No one's moving. Everyone's put their spot on the board and no one's moving. Now Charlie Curnow's having a crack. Kick high to a pack at 50. Flew couldn't mark. Walsh roving. Tackled straight away by Bailey. and a ball up on attacking 50 for Carlton at right half forward.
Carlton are looking for those shorts, so they're trying to break up the play.
Umpire throws it up quickly. De Koning couldn't quite get it. McInerney down to Neil. Now handball's off to Jared Berry. Off a stand, he kicks it long towards the pack, just short of centre wing, and Lewis Young fists it back towards half forward. Goes over the boundary line, get another throw in at right half forward for the Blues, trailing by 35 points. 4 minutes gone of the third term. The Lights have taken control inside the grandstands here at the Gabba, as Q said. The stadium now enveloped in shade. De Koning gets it down, double hands it to Setterfield, who tried to shop a handball back to Chera, but it came off the hands of Lockie Neal. Close checking. Another boundary line throw in coming up now, just between us on the commentary wing and right half forward for Carlton.
35 points the lead for Brisbane. Boundary throw in. McInerney slaps it away from De Koning. Roved though by Doherty of Carlton. Rush kick to half forward. Motlop had it spoiled away by Answorth and out of play for a throw in. And Oscar McInerney, Matt, he's having a good day for the Ruckman's Union. Tom De Koning is having his struggles to get first hand at ruck time.
Yeah, he's too big and strong for him so far today.
McInerney again, beautiful service down to Jared Berry at the coalface. Hand pass to McCluggage, too cute with his hand pass. He was looking for Neil. It's tapped away by Setterfield, but out of play. But there's a number of that silver platter stuff going on, Matty.
Yeah, you're right. It is on a platter. Easy hit back to the mids, handball to the winger. Not getting too much out of it, but slowly working on their territory.
Here's the throw in again at right half forward. De Koning gets this one down to Walsh. Walsh with the looping handball to Fisher under pressure. His left foot to a dangerous spot at the front. It comes off hands. Beautifully rowed Darcy Gardner. Gets it onto the left foot very quickly. De Koning versus McInerney's interesting. At ground level, it's rowed by Cripps. His kick inside 50 overcooked. He missed Walsh. It was rowed nicely by Jared Lyons, and he hits Hipwood on the chest. It was good spoiling effort from Young. Ball came off to McCluggage though, to the run of Cameron. He's at left half forward, runs back into trouble, but then puts a beautiful lateral kick to Zorko. He's got a target on in Bailey, who kept running and hits him 30 metres out, but it's a 45-degree angle to the right for Zach Bailey.
Great movement there. That was just, Charlie was out. I don't know how Eric dropped that, just bounced off his chest, but the run of the midfield, I think it was Berry, got it out to Charlie, and Charlie just changed the angle. They came across, and then eventually Zach Bailey opened on the far side.
Zach Bailey kicked 2 goals, 1 so far for the day. From 35, Bailey gets his third, extends Brisbane's lead to 41 points. 9-10-64, plays 3-5-23. Zane Bojak's on the boundary.
Yeah, Mitch Robinson looks like he's going to be okay to come on. I tell you what, Rowan Dennis might want to watch out at the next Commonwealth Games time trial, because Mitchy jumped on the exercise bike. Geez, he got some good speed up. I'm going to back him for the next game.
Mitch, you could shoot him 10 times for Ingham. He's not going to, he's a medical sub. He'd go with one leg, he'd still be running.
The difference in the game there, Cripps missed that kick inside 50, Brisbane on the rebound, hit their kicks, hit their connection, have an easy shot on goal, where Carlton going inside 50, 1, they can't hit their targets, and 2, it's just bouncing out of there far too easy.
Good point there, Matty.
Well, the margin for Lions fans is similar to this time last week, but it looks a little different at the moment.
They're at home.
41 points the lead to Brisbane. McInerney, clean possession. His hand passed to half forward. Well, Doherty had a chance to pinch it, couldn't. Stolen by McCluggage. He got taken high, McCluggage. Hand passed it and got whacked high by Noon. So free kick to Hugh McCluggage, 60 out. Plays on, gets dumped by a tackle, and McGovern turns average kick. Picked up by Cripps of Carlton. Hand pass was behind Nunes. He left it behind. Brisbane ball. Hand pass from Lyons to Rich. Rich's hand pass to half foot, stolen by Walsh, who then got coat-hangered by McInerney. Free kick to Sam Walsh. That's all pretty messy at half-back for Carlton. Walsh kicks it to right half-back, marked by Setterfield. And he'll play on with a chip, which is marked by Doherty. Playing for Voss at the Gabba, as he did at the start of his career all those years ago, but in Brisbane colours, Sam Doherty. Here he is kicking to Cottrell. Cottrell marks, kick towards full forward. Adams fists the pack for Brisbane. Bounce though on the spoil, favours Dow. Paddy Dow outside of the right boot. Too far on the push. He's pushed it across the face for a point.
That left foot.
3-6-24 to 9-10-64. Yes, Jace, where was the other side?
You need that. That's why you're a pro.
Top round draft pick with no left foot.
Sounds like James Hird.
Interesting. Well, it works for some. Long kick down the outer side. Joe Danaher goes with the left foot and goes back to the logo. It's missed up, picked up by Matheson. The handball to the run of Coleman. And the beautifully weighted long left footer into the pocket finds McStay. He doesn't look like he's putting any power into his kicks, Kadeem Coleman, but they just keep sailing. It is beautiful. And McStay's going to have a shot from about 10 metres out.
You said it before, Price. The silky skills of Kitty. That they missed him when he was out a couple of weeks ago with that soft tissue. But McStay, normally don't see him sort of get out the back much, but it's good to see him. He's contract year. He want to kick a couple of goals late in this game and in this whole season, to be honest.
He's got one. He peels around with the left, makes it 2 for Dan McStay and 10 for the Brisbane Lions. 10-10-70. Plays 3-6-24. 9.5 gone third term on Grandstand AFL.
The second term is underway in the West. Aaron Bryant.
The Eagles have just hit the front by 2 points, 5-3-33 to Adelaide's 5-1-31 halfway through the second term. Jack Darling putting them ahead from a set shot from 30. Josh Kennedy has 3 in his final game. Adelaide's defence really keeping them in it because the Eagles are dominating the inside 50 count and they're up by 2 at the moment.
Thanks, Aaron.
Once again, Acker, Carlton's backs got caught just ball watching and Brisbane's forwards got out the back. But when there's no pressure between the arcs in the modern game, if you're defending just looking for the ball and the ball's coming down with no pressure, there's going to be space everywhere. And that's been Brisbane's forwards. That's what's weighted in their favour tonight. There's been a lot of ball over the back here because there's no pressure.
Bar a 5-minute burst, Carlton hasn't kicked a goal in the game. They kicked all those 3 goals in that little burst in the middle of the second term.
They've called that one back.
Yeah, that bounced. They don't do it at the start of the term, Mac. It doesn't look good. Thrown in the air this time. McInerney taps down. Dow does the roving for Carlton. Hand pass out the back to Chera. High kick towards the wing/half forward flank. Met by Berry of Brisbane. Did well to trap it, gather. Left foot kick around his body to the wing. First to meet at Nunes of Carlton. Hand pass infield. Too hot for Marchbank. Picked up by McStay of Brisbane. Hand pass to McCluggage. Kick from 70 to full forward. Danaher got high. Gave away a free kick. Leaping early. And Young's going to take the free kick for the Blues. Chips it short to right half back where Chera takes the grab. Chera misses his target infield on the 45 over Dow's head. Got to Walsh. Walsh tackled by Coleman. Got rid of it just. No. Holding the ball. Right. Free kick to Coleman. He put a clamp on his opposite number 18 and Brisbane set to go forward again.
We could have a shot from here.
He's just forward to centre wing. He's very good, but he'd have to be very, very good from there. But he instead lays off a 25-metre pass to Zorko. Called now to play on. Wheels around onto his right foot. Kicks it to the pocket. A big pack forming through hands at the back, Matheson. But the ball bounces away from him over the boundary. We'll get a throw in front of the Blues brothers.
Yes.
The gathering throng, dressed like Jake and Elwood, all in one bay here at the Gabba.
McCarthy gave Zorko the big stare because he just ignored him twice. He's in a good spot, McCarthy.
Boundary throw in. Brisbane deep in attack. Ruckman share it. Walsh does the roving. Spins away from a tackle for Carlton. 1-2 hand pass exchange with Doherty. Runs through fullback Walsh and kicks beautifully to left half back. Marked by O'Brien. Some first class stuff from the number 1 draft pick. O'Brien's kick to half back. Starcevic arrives to make the telling fist, but there's a whistle before that. Motlop got unfairly dealt with by Answorth. So Jesse Motlop is going to take the free kick for Carlton.
Oh, yeah. As a coating.
Just held him down by the head.
So that's a kick.
Free kick.
Most days of the week. Jesse Motlop from left half back. Kicks high towards half forward for Carlton. McInerney to the front of the pack. Floats in front of Mackay and outmarks him pointlessly.
Yeah, disposal number 13 coming up for the Big O, and he's had 5 clearances, 7 hits out to advantage. Not his best kick either. He's turned it over, and it's the Lions through Marcus Adams who chips it forward. Goes with Cam Rayner just in front of centre wing. He wants to come across the ground now. Finds Coleman, the centre half back. Yep. That is a laconic, beautiful left foot kick to left half forward, if you don't mind, from centre half back, and finds Joe Danaher. He's 60 from goal. Just about every player on the field is in front of halfway. Joe plays on.
A low kick to the top of the square. Front and centre Robinson. Front and centre, a goal to Mitch Robinson. 100 games for the Blues, but he is a Lion through and through, Mitch. 11-10-76. Plays Carlton 3-6-24. It's looking ugly for the Blues at a 52-point margin. 13.5 gone third quarter.
Well, they've continued to stifle them again, Brisbane. There's no ball movement at all from Carlton. It's just all long down the line, contested stuff. And then when Brizzy won that again, beautiful switch to Kitty Cohen, who laced out Danaher, worked really hard, and then a nice, dangerous kick to the top of the square, put the defenders under pressure again. Yeah, they're doing this really well at the Brisbane at the moment. Defensively, super strong, and moving the ball really well.
Apart from Blues fans, I'll tell you who else is not liking this, Acker. Sydney Swans fans, because the Lions' percentages now in this live ladder, they're about 1.2% behind the Swans.
Yeah,
so all of these numbers are going to be a factor as we go from moment to moment through the next 2.5 weeks. Centre bounce. Brisbane by 52. Lions clearance coming up. Matheson at the coal face. Kicks the Lions into attack. Beyond Sard. It's picked up by Wiedering with Carlton in the pocket. Hand pass. Bit of a hoper. It's taken well by McGovern, who rode over the top of McCarthy to get it. Kick down the wings, turned over. Marked by Answorth at Brisbane. Kicks in field. Enough time for Matheson to have a little fumble. Gather. Hand pass to Coleman. Hand pass. No looker. Will bounce to the advantage of Gardner. Everything happening for Brisbane here. Hand pass to Berry. Hands it back to Gardner. It's messy in the middle. Gardner's little up and under kick doesn't create much. Rayner affects the contest with a little spiking spoil. Brisbane, though, turn it over. Nunes with a hand pass to Cottrell. Cottrell for Carlton on the wing, kicks to half forward. Marked by Curnow, 60 out. Centering ball. Jack Martin's got 3 to beat. Adams punches it away. Dow does the roving, though, for the Blues. Still on attacking 50. Hands it to Martin. His kick is slewed and just got to O'Brien. Who went to his knees to take the mark before the gap of grass 40 metres out.
There's a poor entry there from Carlton. I think it was Curnow, just the top of Martin's head. And good contest though from Martin, but I think, here we go, pass it off.
And it's Silvani leading and dropping. In the pocket, he got to it, he tumbled, it came clear. Pressure now applied by McStay and Neal to lock it up for a bounce.
It's actually him, as in Silvani and McStay in the ruck, so he was actually the ruckman then, Silvani.
He's making the lead, and Paddy Dow's got to take the responsibility there, methinks as well, a young man, especially with the weight on the shoulders.
Dropped the sitter there.
So there's Lockie Neal at the clearance, the handball out to Mitch Robinson, exploding away, has a bounce and then dribbles one up to the outer wing. Big contest, and Bailey with his dancing shoes through the traffic, kicks it to the goal square, and Cameron finishes it off with a kick mid-air. Absolutely brilliant, scintillating football from the Brisbane Lions at the Gather. 12-10-82, plays 3-6-24. Charlie Cameron's got his second. Here comes John Denver.
Here it comes. We love it. What about that, though, at the back? And that's, you just saw there Sard. Sard, I know he's done his ankle because he can usually keep up with Charlie. Charlie is super quick, don't get me wrong, so Sard. So, Charlie, you love those ones. Although that was a pretty good goal in the end because it was sort of travelling towards the points.
Good goal, but the effort from Marchbank here is a key defender. Not strong enough there. I'm not saying they've given up, but their attack on the ball, their desire for the contest has dropped right away here, Carlton. The scoreboard's really got to them.
They're making the most of it too, Brisbane. How's that live ladder looking? They'll be starting to zoom up past.
Zane on the boundary.
Yeah, they changed the John Denver to My Island Home a couple of weeks ago, but I tell you what, will Carlton be voting Vossi off the island if he can't get in the finals after the start they had?
Neal with the clearance for Brisbane. From the centre bounce, kicks it. It's going to come back. He kicked it out to the wing, but got a push in the back. Neal, centre bounce clearance is 12-5 Brisbane's way. Chip pass marked by Bailey, who's still in the bullseye. Brisbane leading by 58 points. As Bailey watches a few backmen run by, decides to kick it deep to full forward. Wiedering, though, reads it well for Carlton to take the defensive mark. His kick finds a man in space. It's Martin beyond half back. Martin marks, holds up for a moment, transfers down the line to O'Brien, takes the grab and has to stop on halfway.
No numbers forward for Carlton.
Brizzy worked too hard back.
And no movement either.
Chipped backwards to Wiedering at left half back.
Wieders was the only one that was moving for Carlton there, so he received the ball. It's a long kick from him, lowers the eyes. That's a spear of a pass to the lead of Curnow. He wheels around now, into the pocket, Mackay. It's what Carlton fans have been after all day. But Harry Mackay takes a mark 30 metres out, sharp angle to the left.
Two amazing kicks.
Two great kicks, wasn't it?
Oh, Wiedering, that kick out in front, so much space for, who was that? They had to look in there. Sorry, that was
Charlie Curnow.
Charlie Curnow, and then another ripper into his big, powerful full forward in Harry.
From about 30 metres, Harry Mackay with the left foot. The drop punt is wide. One behind results. 12-10-82, plays 3-7-25. It is now 47-point margin. 57-point margin, I should say. 19 gone, third term.
Dan Rich taking a moment before a bit of a mid-ranger to half-back by his standards. Robinson presents and marks. Plays on with a hand pass to Neil at right half-back. Chips Brisbane to the wing and McStay. This is all too easy for Brisbane at the moment. 57 points the lead for the locals as McStay kicks around the southern wing, turns over his kick. Chera takes the mark for a kick that was intended for Answorth. So Carlton back with the ball. Chera kicks to the middle of the ground. Martin, the target, flew over Rich, couldn't mark. Roving is Jared Lyons for Brisbane. Chip to half forward, finds the deck. Wiedering meets it. He's tackled. He dropped it. He got it to his boot just. Play on. Berry meets the spillage for Brisbane. Rides a tackle, hands to Coleman. 55 out. Kick to Danaher. Flies in the pocket, couldn't mark. Bailey does the roving. Swiveled 360. Still got the hand pass to Zorko. Zorko snaps. Near side for a point.
Oh boy.
58 the diff at 83-25.
Joey by himself. His eyes would have been like dinner plates.
Just needed that kick to be about half a metre longer as Nunes has a couple of bounces and kicks it out to Cottrell at right half back for Carlton. Stationary, not a lot of movement there. Shell shocked here at the Gab of the Baggers.
Why go that wide? That's not the way you can win a game of footy.
Well, he's stuck there now, Jacob Wiedering, and Hipwood did a very good job with the 1%er of standing the mark and held everything up. Long kick down the line works out though. Harry Mackay takes a good pack mark just forward to centre wing. Wheels around onto the left, inside 50. Jack Martin at the back, couldn't quite take it. Well done by Answorth. Just kept going and at ground level shoots a handball out. It's picked up by Silvani. Here's a flying shot from the boundary. It's marked by O'Brien, but he fair dinkum pushed Mish Robinson in the back, one side, one hand each side of the 5 number, and it's going to be a free kick to Mitch next to the behind post left back pocket for Brisbane. 21 gone, third term.
Subbed in when Kalachi was knocked out of the game by high contact from Pat Cripps. One of the big storylines from earlier in the game. Robinson short to Gardner, Gardner short to Rich as Brisbane chip mark still well inside defensive 50. Rich returning to the team after he had a week out with the concussion protocols. Kicks to left half back. Andrews marks in space. He'll kick a floater to the presenting Hipwood. Time for it to bounce. Hipwood gathers. Hand passes to Berry. Berry's going to look backwards with his kick, which is over the head of Starcevic, juggles but gathers it all the way back to D50. Starcevic hands it to Andrews. Andrews back to the reset point. Full back for Rich. Rich kicks down the corridor looking for Rayner. Mackay makes the spoil. Roved by O'Brien of Carlton. Chance for the Blues, top of the 50. The hand pass comes loose though. Gardner picks up for Brisbane. Hand pass to Zorko. Zorko's toe poke. Clears the danger to Robinson at half back.
Got a little messy there, but Robinson got it out to Jared Lyons on the outer logo. Little 45-degree kick finds Zach Bailey. He sees a lead on from Cameron. Kicks it towards him. Good spoil by Sard. At ground level, Carlton with the ball through Doherty. He chips it out wide. And it's with Will Setterfield. He just bangs it down the wing. Robinson against Chera was a good effort. Spoiled it, brought it to ground. Well rove Motlop for Carlton. Handball now to Cripps. Gets it over to Marchbank, to Martin, now through Walsh. All in front of the benches. Centre wing out of side. Long kick inside 50. 2-on-1 against Mackay. And it works out for Brisbane. Starcevic handball to Andrews. To Mitch Robinson, who toes it out of defensive 50. Chance now for Carlton through De Koning. He's tackled, ball spills, Chera picks, kicks it inside 50. Owies versus Gardner. It's getting sloppy here. Ball comes down to Cottrell. Off hands and over the boundary line. A throw in. That's indicative, Matty Primus, Jason Ackermanis. The service inside 50 for Carlton, not good at all.
No, they've been a little bit better this quarter, moving a bit faster, but Brizzy's pressure then denied him any easy inside 50.
That's all it is, pressure, Pricey.
Good work, Matt.
Carlton in attack with the throw in. De Koning to the front, taps down McInerney intercepts though for Brisbane. Fumbles a hand pass clear. Zorko tries to kick it off the ground, had a bit of a shinned attempt. Picked up by Martin of Carlton, snaps it to the pocket straight to Berry of Brisbane, who booms a clearing kick out towards the wing. Bounces out the back. Nunes was there for Carlton to pick up. Kick infield over the head of Sard, stolen by Cameron. It was just about to race away, but the ump says no. Nunes got manhandled after that previous contest, so Sard gets the free kick. Chips it around the edge of the centre square, marked by McGovern. Hand pass back to Sard. Has a little bounce. He's kicked wide to half forward. Jack Martin marks it. 48 metres out. About 3 metres in from the boundary at left half forward.
Always a good sign when Joey Danaher is making tackles or just missing tackles, which he did then, but a little bit over anxious there. Over exuberant. Got to give away the free kick because Charlie was out. Good pressure.
Carlton hasn't kicked a goal since the 18.5 minute mark of the second term. We're now 24 minutes into the third. From right on 50 near the boundary, Jack Martin's right foot drop punt. He is an exceptionally skilled player. He's just left that near side though for a point. Very, very close. 57 the diff at 12-11-83 to 3-8-26 Zane Bojack.
Yeah, Lockyer Bryan had to get some more patchwork on that cheekbone area on the right side. He had blood pouring out of it again. The bandage came off, but they've put some of that stuff on the cream that stops the blood from running, and he's going to be able to come back on.
So the Lions bring the ball back into their 57 points in front. It's a long kick coming out towards Jared Berry. Good work from Cottrell at ground level, brings it back for Carlton. Handball to Young, forward to Dow, under pressure to Cottrell, who kept running. Now to Cripps on the arc of 50. He measures a beautiful lateral kick and finds his teammate in Jack Martin. Hits his chest, 40 out directly in front.
That's a better kick from Paddy Cripps. That last one earlier in the quarter was horrible. Missed his teammate. It's about 5 metres away from him. But Jack Martin's actually had a good quarter. He's looking quite dangerous, Mattress.
He's a dangerous forward. He can find it, in the air, on the ground, and he keeps presenting.
Just the two behind so far. This one should be a little easier. From 40, Jack Martin.
Soda
leans back on it. The umpire works, but it is a goal. The Carlton's first goal since midway through the second term. The Lions 12-11-83 to Carlton's 4-8-32. It is back to a 51-point margin. 26 gone third term.
Over in the west, it's the Eagles taking on the Crows, getting closer to half-time. Aaron Bryant.
Hugh, the Eagles by 7 at the moment. Josh Kennedy now has 4 in his final game. Scary moment earlier. Will Hamill was crunched by Jack Darling in a marking contest. He's been subbed off. It's likely his 6th concussion for the youngster, so really poor signs for the Adelaide Crows. They're currently trailing by 7 points with 4 to play in the second.
Thank you, Aaron, and the majority of you to get the end of the JK party. Sounds like he's having a good day in his final appearance at AFL footy. 700-plus goals for Josh Kennedy. What a career.
What a servant he's been.
Yeah. 51 the difference here. Brisbane in front with about 90 seconds left in the third term, and that's a wobbly bounce which almost went to square leg.
It's a tough gig being up by the best of times, but that bounce, oh man, can go anywhere.
Tossed in the air. De Koning too early. McInerney pinches it from him. Gets it to his boot. Dribbling ball to half forward for Brisbane. McCluggage meets it. Hand pass through traffic. Ends up with Neil. Hands to Rayner. Out the side is Bailey. 40 out. Burns his opponent. Snaps truly. And Brisbane is torching the Blues on their home deck. That's 4 for Zach Bailey. 57 the diff. How many goals have Brisbane got out the back today?
But it wasn't just out the back. It was in that contest how sharp the lines were. So clean, quick hands. Zach Bailey just puts on the afterburners and kicks the goal, and then Zorko just gives him a big tackle hug and tackles him to the ground. That's how excited he was, and that is beautiful, clean, crisp, below your knees football.
It is, and you mentioned earlier, Q, Big O, once again, put it in a great little area there for be able to win the ball. As you say, McCluggage hands there to Neil, then the hands out to space, and Brizzy have been super around the clearances today.
Zane on the boundary.
Yeah, more running repairs for Mitch Robinson. He's been good today, the old fella, but he's got a foot problem at the moment. They're trying to strap in, and I think he's got heaps of blisters there, and he's got a bit of a problem with maybe the bottom of the padding, so hopefully he can get back out there again. I'm loving watching Mitchie.
I'm loving watching the Big O at the moment. He just grabbed another clearance out of the ruck, out of the centre, so asserting the dominance there. Brisbane out of the middle, but it comes back now through McGovern. He kicks it towards half forward. Now it's with Starcevic back now to McCarthy. Starcevic kept running. He puts it out in front of McStay, who was down the Stanley Street wing. Gathers, gives it back to Starcevic, who kept going himself. Followed up with the handball to McLuggage from a standing start under pressure inside 50. I didn't know what he was doing, Nunes. Should I mark it? Should I fist it? I'll do nothing either. He just managed to gather, handballed it out to Doherty. He was in two minds, and that's the pressure of the Lions. Doherty now brings it back inboard to Mitch McGovern.
Forward to full back, McGovern down the corridor. Hits the leading Mackay. Marks on his chest a long way from home. Kicks to right half forward, Cottrell's in space. Takes the grab, and the siren beats a Carlton entry, which had Charlie Curnow marking on his chest written all over it. But the hooter came to deny the Blues that chance, and the Lions have extended once more. It's been a dominant performance from the hosts. 29 in front at quarter time, 35 in front at half time, and now 57 points to the good at final oranges. Brisbane 13-11-89. Carlton 4-8-34. Zach Bailey has kicked 4 goals for Brisbane. Dan McStay's got 2, Charlie Cameron's got 2, and singles to Mitch Robinson, Jared Berry, Lockie Neal and Lincoln McCarthy. And only 4 goals for Carlton. Motlop, Cripps, Nunes and Martin. And just reminding you about Pat Cripps, if you have just tuned in, there'll be plenty of assessment into a collision that he initiated with Callum Archie, which saw Archie leave the ground under concussion protocols and has not been able to return. Brisbane 13-11-89, Carlton 4-8-34. Earlier today, Sydney 18-18-126 over North Melbourne's 13-10-88. A couple of minutes before half-time over in Perth. The latest, Aaron Bryans.
1 point ball game, Q. Close contest between the cellar dwellers. West Coast up by a point over Adelaide, 7-3-45 to 7-2-44.
And in the NRL earlier today, North Queensland defeated Canterbury Bankstown 28 points to 14. Early stages second half, Newcastle 14, leading the West's Tigers 0. 57 points the lead for Brisbane at three-quarter time at the Gabba. You're listening to it unfold on ABC Sports Grandstand AFL.
We are one,
but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We share a dream and stay with one voice.
90 years of the ABC.
You are, we are Australian.
90 years yours.
The 2022 AFL Premiership season.
Grandstand AFL. On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Jared Lyons, and he hits Hipwood on the chest. It was good spoiling effort from Young. Ball came off to McLuggage though, to the run of Cameron. He's at left half forward, runs back into trouble, but then puts a beautiful lateral kick to Zorko. He's got a target on in Bailey, who kept running from 35. Bailey gets his third. It's Joe Danaher. He's 60 from goal. Just about every player on the field is in front of halfway. Joe plays on. A low kick to the top of the square. Front and centre Robinson. Front and centre. A goal to Mitch Robinson. Mitch Robinson exploding away. Has a bounce and then dribbles one up to the outer wing. Big contest and Bailey with his dancing shoes through the traffic. Kicks it to the goal square, and Cameron finishes it off with a kick mid-air. Absolutely brilliant, scintillating football from the Brisbane Lions at the Gabba.
McCluggage meets it, hand pass through traffic, ends up with Neal, hands to Rayner, out the side is Bailey, 40 out, burns his opponent, snaps truly, and Brisbane is torching the Blues on their home deck.
This is the 2022 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Such a tight race to not only decide who plays in the finals, but just where the starting grid positions will be. And that's perhaps turned into the storyline of this final term on Grandstand AFL as we welcome you back to the Gabba. We know where the points is going. It's going to Brisbane. They lead by 57 points at three-quarter time. But they won't want to slow down, and the Blues won't want to make it any worse. I've just had a look at the context of the percentage, but without trying to befuddle you too much. Brisbane is 1.1% outside of the top four at the moment. So they need to keep going to try and better Sydney's percentage. And then you look at the Blues. Well, take Richmond out of it because they had the draw and their premiership points a difference. But St Kilda, which is a game behind Carlton, well, at the moment the Blues percentage is only 7 better than the Saints. And then if you want to get really cataclysmic for Carlton supporters and think, well, what if the Dogs won 2 in a row? Well, their percentage is only at the moment 0.02 inferior to Carlton's. So we might say that the game is one and done for the 4 premiership points, but this margin is going to be a part of, I think, lots of footy games for the next couple of weeks, gentlemen.
As we heard with the call before of the Sydney-North game, you know, how much Sydney were able to go up to third spot and then North kicked a couple. So, yeah, if Carlton can kick a couple, it'll bring Brisbane's down. But that quarter was pretty even there. Just Brisbane's efficiency by foot and use of their hands was super, and their ability to get away from the stoppages was super. I really like the job that Jared Lyons and... just had a memory blank here.
McCluggage?
No, not McCluggage. Beast. Matheson, sorry. Matheson, I love the job they've done on Cripps. They've double-teamed him. He's had 19 possessions, but he didn't have any clearances that quarter. He's had 5 for the game, but only 90 metres gained. Last week he had 40 for 500 metres gained. So they've put a real strong body. When he's one's in the clinches, it's just been a junk ball come out. I really like the work that those two have put into him. And I would think that the coach of Brisbane Lions here, Fags, would be saying, we finished this game off strongly. This is our best four-quarter effort for quite some time.
Yeah, you think that the last 2 rounds, Q, it's going to be... You don't want to look at the live ladder because it's going to go up and down. You're in the 4, you're out of the 4, you're in the 8, you're out of the 8. It's going to be amazing.
McCluggage has got 23 possessions, Neil 21, Zorko 19, Jared Berry 17. They're the best for Brisbane. Carlton led by Doherty with 20, Sard 20, Cripps 19 and Walsh 19. Inside 50s. Brisbane 54, Carlton 30 as we start the final term.
Umpire gets it down and McInerney beats De Koning for the ball, but De Koning picks it up at ground level, toes it forward. Cottrell versus Coleman. Cottrell just dropped it under the pressure of Coleman, picked up by Jared Berry at half-back for Brisbane. Handball now to Neil. Neil wheels around. Just composure. A couple of bounces out of half-back, and that is, well, it's not composure. He's turned it over. Looking for Coleman. He hit Doherty instead. Doherty inside 50, and a ripping mark taken by Charlie Curnow. Got on the shoulders of the specimen who is down, Marcus Adams, but Curnow, 40 out directly in front, provides a highlight for the Baggers fans.
Oh, bad kick from Lockie Neal. I mean, he had lines out here, but if we look at the replays, he could cover ribs or...
I think he may have copped a knee into the ribs here.
Marcus Adams, yes.
Marcus Adams is staying down. And we're just waiting for the vision of Curnow coming in from the side.
Oof.
And... yeah. Now we're getting a slow-mo.
Might be winded.
Oh, that's a knee to the solar plexus as well.
And he's down being attended. Yeah. Oh, maybe a hyperextension of that left arm as well. Anyway, he's not happy, Marcus Adams.
I think the pain kicked in about 2 seconds after he landed for the big play, and he's not one to stay down.
And that's a really interesting replay because it looked just like 2 bodies colliding without any real contact injury, yet Adams has stayed down, whether he's just winded or not.
I think he's winded, yeah.
He's just sitting up now and he's just about to be helped to his feet by the physio. Still a bit hunched over, but he's up.
A punctured lung, you never know.
Well, you don't want to speculate too much, but he has been felled in a manner a man of his nickname, the Specimen, wouldn't think would take that long to recover.
No, it looks like it's just the wind knocked right out of him. And unfortunately...
But aren't we allowed to play footy now? If you either go off for a concussion test or you play on, right?
You would think so.
No, he'll be right.
No, so the physios have taken him away from the scene and the umpire gives the ball back to Charlie Curnow, calls time on. So Curnow can start proceedings in the last quarter in a positive way for Blues.
Orange boots, you'd want to kick him with orange boots.
From 45, here's a bloke who once had 3 different coloured hair.
Oh, he didn't?
Curnow. Comes in from 35 and kicks another one for the Blues.
Only had one colour.
Sorry, it was 2 colours. 13-11-89. Place 5-8-38. It is back to a 51-point margin. We've played 2.5 of the final term on ABC Sport.
Dr. Bojack, no pressure. You're calling him in here. Can you work it out?
Yeah, he was just telling the trainer that he actually got the knee just where the line is on his jersey, so around that rib area. But I think it's actually got him, as you guys said, more towards that winded area, that lung area. So I think he's going to be okay. I don't think he's knocked out or anything like that or concussed. I think he's going to be fine.
It's coach killer too. I tell you wouldn't be happy with looking Neil because that turnover caused that incident, which then causes Adams to go off. Oh, you hate that, don't you, Matty?
Caught him offside and then he tried to get back into it. By trying to get back there, he's winded himself.
Centre bounce, McInerney over to Koning again. Get him a towel, De Koning. He's been given a bath in the middle in the tap regard. Underneath, no clearance though. Oscar's putting on the show today. Toss back up in the middle. De Koning pushes him out of the way again. Got pushed out of the way. Palm down to McCluggage, jumped on by Cripps. Now, Matty, I'm not trying to be too flippant, but he is absolutely directing traffic here, Oscar. Tap that one down to Jared Berry. There's another first hand from the ruck. Berry, though, can't get it clear. Stolen by Fisher of the Blues. Quick kick to half forward, met by Gardner of Brisbane. Runs through D50, kicks the pass to Berry in the middle of the ground for the Lions. Marks and will kick it wide. Near will take the grab on the members' wing with a bit of time to assess. Slows up, looks in field, takes the short option of the presenting Lions, who's still on halfway.
Some body language on exhibition too here for Carlton. They look a lot that's been very disappointed as Daniel Rich kicks a 70-metre bomb inside 50 off hands. Nicely rowed by Setterfield for the Blues. Hand ball to the run of Doherty, who goes out wide. Drops in front of Martin, who gathered nicely around his ankles. The handball to Nunes was cut off. Nunes comes back in, and he's tackled by Brandon Starcevic over the boundary. And Zane Bojack's down there.
Yeah, Chris Fagan's been down on the boundary line with the Lions on the bench all game, but Michael Voss has just come down here. He must want to watch the last quarter at close hand and try and give some advice.
Yeah, I'd be giving some advice too, just quietly. The throw in, McInerney.
Win the ball.
Down to Lions, yep. It's a kicked inside 50, and that's a good mark taken there by Jacob Wiedering. A bit of a dodgy shove under the ball, but he still took the mark and the umpire let him get away with it.
Quick one to Aaron. They've hit half-time in Perth. Aaron Bryans.
2-point game, Q. The Eagles up 7-4-46 to the Crows, 7-2-44. Adelaide getting smashed in the middle. Josh Kennedy in his final game for the Eagles has 4 at half-time.
Thanks, Aaron. Sard with a long kick from the pocket. Hits Cottrell. Blues ball as Cottrell marks defensive side of the wing. Kicks infield to McGovern. McGovern switches it directly across the centre square of the Gabba. Marked by O'Brien, southern side. Kicks it into attack. Curnow leads Gardner to the ball, marks it. And clatters into a security guard. Very close to the fence where the paint of 50 meets the paint of the boundary at right half forward for Carlton.
Yes. Where he had his previous shot in the first half from, wasn't it? A similar area, not out wide, and Brisbane has certainly defended him very well today.
Well, to bring up bad memories for Carlton fans, not too far away from Robbie Gray territory at the Gabba. One of the great nuances of that 2020 season, that great Port Adelaide moment at this ground for the power against the Blues. Curnow from 50, tough angle. Bang! 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 Charlie Curnow. What a finish. He's got 2. 45 the difference.
Never looked like it from the day, the minute he left his boot.
That was just about as good as Robbie Gray's
it was, yes.
6-8-46, trails 13-11-89. 2 to the Blues, 2 to Curnow in this final term.
Good move in there. Wiedering marked the ball, a really good mark. Took a little bit of time to switch the ball, but able to switch it, bring it back through the middle, double switch back over the other side, and then Curnow was able to get a one-on-one and a good kick on the lead, and then a special finish, as you call Q. But some really good moving there by the Blues.
I tell you what, if you're a Brisbane Lions player, that's where you want every guy to have a shot from. On the boundary at 50, there's no chance, and of course, what a goal. What a goal. Low percentage, but hey, you take it.
Is that because you've just relaxed all expectation and you just kick through the ball, Acker?
Yep, just go for it.
Back into the middle now.
It is a 45-point margin in favour of the Lions, with Blues with another clearance. Here's Sam Walsh. Gets it towards half forward, over the back of Cottrell. Nicely rove. Cottrell goes back from Owies with the handball. Gets the left foot towards the top of the square. Motlop! Oh, what a ripping mark! The young Jesse Motlop takes a hanger at the top of the square, and he'll shoot for goal.
Oh, what about the Blues brothers? That's the most we've seen them. They're out of their chair. They enjoyed that. Good mark.
I know Brandon Starcevic didn't enjoy it. He's standing the mark as Jesse Motlop.
Not the first Starcevic to feature in a stepladder in a Carlton game.
Well, this is true. Jesse Motlop comes in and kicks Carlton's 7th. 13-11-89 to 7-8-50. 39 points the margin. Memories of Sauce on top of Star.
Of Uncle Craig, yes. Zane on the boundary.
Yeah, look, Michael Voss just moseys down to the boundary line at the bench here, and all of a sudden Carlton kicks 2 goals. What if he'd done it in the first quarter?
I don't think it'd be great to have that much say on the game. You know how people that say, I was watching and I couldn't watch and I went away, turned the TV off and you guys came back and won. Like, you honestly think you have got that much to do with it? But it's all right. He's down there. They're obviously playing a better quarter, and so they should. They've been outplayed all day.
Well, as they did in the second term, 3 in a rush for the Blues. And outside of that goal late in the third term, it's basically been those 2 spurts. 3, Drought got 1, and then a spurt of 3 again there. Carlton 7. Centre bounce, again a Brisbane clearance. Matheson with a kick to half forward, just doesn't reach McStay. Bounce taken by Marchbank, just got it to his boot. Picked up by Walsh, hand pass to Sard. Carlton's ball at half back. Sard hand passes wide to Setterfield. Kicks it to the wing. Curnow underran it. Well judged by Gardner. Takes the defensive mark for Brisbane. Chips it infield, marked by Matheson. And he's happy to take a moment or two. Kicks it all the way back inside defensive 50 for Noah Answorth. He likes to lie in his bed no matter what time the game is on. He'll have a bit of bedtime before going to the footy, as he told us before today.
I always have a nap before the game.
Yeah, he said he necessarily doesn't have a nap. He just goes and lie down in bed for a bit. Brisbane mucking around with it at half back. Rayner's got it. Turns infield, then turns to the wing. Kicks it to McCarthy, who marks unmarked between wing and half forward.
He was floating over there. He didn't realise. Then he looks at his teammate who was getting well held. He said, I can mark this. And he did.
Lincoln McCarthy with his right boot, kicking Brisbane into attack. Fist came from McStay defensively. Rove by Hipwood. Kick to the goal mouth. De Koning spores it away from McInerney. Over the boundary line for a throw-in next to the goal posts at the western end. And near the big main scoreboard, which reads Brisbane 13-11-89 to Carlton 7-8-50.
Big O was down at full forward there, Price. Now he's just gone that kick behind the play.
Just standing there with Tom De Koning. They'll both go in the ruck now. In fact, De Koning goes against McStay. He slaps it down. Neil goes in against Cripps. Takes the ball, extracts it, and then gets tackled. It's taken by McLuggage, and he gets taken to ground. There's another good tackling effort there from Nunes, and another ball up, 40 out from the Brisbane goal. Sard takes it, kicks it forward. Mark taken by Paddy Dow, barely the 15. He's called a play on now. Kicks it and misses the target by a good couple of metres in Harry Mackay. It skids over the boundary line in front of the Carlton bench. And a throw in.
Done that all day, haven't they, Carlton? Yeah. Missed some simple ones.
He wasn't even under pressure. Like, he wasn't under pressure. And the guy he's kicking to's not under pressure.
Elementary mistakes on a big day for the Blues, where they fluffed their lines in Brisbane. That throw-in is so shallow. De Koning got to it. Ump didn't call it back. Play on. Hand pass to Cripps. Hands it to Chera. Chera's hand pass now ends up with who takes a bounce and runs to half forward. Right foot kick towards full forward. Intercept Mark Answorth of Brisbane. And they had numbers 3 on 2 there with that entry from Sam Walsh. Answorth kicks it to Matheson, unmarked at half back. Marks and booms it to the southern wing, taken by the unmarked Lions. And that's Jarrett in number 17 for Brisbane. Kicks infield, taken by Zorko, unmarked. He kicks to half forward, marked by Sard, who's unmarked, but he plays for the opposition.
Starting to
Bad kick from Zorko.
Starting to get a look at the Forsen backs at school, as you used to kick it back and forth as Sard plays on. Kicks it inside 50, and there's Harris Andrews in front of Harry Mackay, taking a good, strong defensive mark, and that's been an intriguing battle all day. Harry hasn't had any supply, really, but only the 7 touches, and Harris Andrews has been very good all day, as he usually is.
Shallow entry too. Very poor from the Blues.
An elite one-on-one defender as it comes back out to Ainsworth. As since he's had the work done, he's done very well as well.
His ribs are good.
Everything's good for Noel Ainsworth at this stage at right half back. A long kick towards the logo. Eric Hipwood flies, fisted away from him by Young, roved by Chera, nicely done, handball out to Doherty, back to Chera with the 1-2, it's a wobbly left footer inside 50, awful bounce for Gardner, nice for Curnow, picks it up, pushed as he kicked, and that affected the kick and it lands on the chest of Mitch Robinson.
And I think there's a few boos from Carlton fans for Robbo. There's a bit of a scunged kick to left half back, mishit it, went along the deck and he gets the Bronx.
He's getting the Bronx at home. What happens?
That's harsh, isn't it?
Out of play boundary throw in at right half forward for Carlton, who have kicked the only 3 goals of this final term. Brisbane leading by 39 points. How's this ruck throw in? Again, the ruckmen have to move a long way to get to it. McStay taps down, stolen by Cripps. 1-2 hand pass exchange with Fisher. Cripps kicks it into attacking 50. Bounce favours Curnow. He flips it over his head to Mackay. Open goal. Mackay dribbles it through. Blues with 4 in a row in this final term. And 33 the diff at 13-11-89 to 8-8-56. So that percentage game that we were playing at three-quarter times coming into the argument, Matty Primus and Jason O'Kamanis.
Well, it is. It's saving the Blues there a little bit and didn't Brisbane's percentage going up there. But yeah, look, they're looking a little bit more efficient inside 50. The 2 big boys are getting some more one-on-one looks. I like the big O then. You've mentioned how many times the throw-ins have fallen short. And the umpire's got to get better at that. But as a ruck, you've got to adjust to that. And I'd love the big O just to take front position, just belt some forward like he's done in the centre bounces rather than cute little tap downs and get some territory out of that. But a good little fight back the last couple of minutes from the Blues.
Zane on the boundary.
Yeah, Martin's been subbed out for the Blues and Durden has been activated. I can't work out what's wrong with Jack. Maybe he's just run out of puff, given that he's been out for a while.
Oh, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, no, that's officially diagnosed as a lung condition. We're back into the middle. Rayner with the clearance, handball to Matheson and to McLuggage. Long kick towards half forward, and as he does, is Sam Doherty. He's had some kind of year. Has taken a nice defensive mark, but geez, he just
well done.
I just killed him because he just kicked it straight down the guts of Dan McStay in the middle of the ground, who opted to kick it long inside 50. It hits ground level. Nicely tapped back in by Bailey under pressure looking for Charlie Cameron. They get involved is Walsh now. Handball out to O'Brien for Carlton under pressure. He kicks it to the wing off the hands of Starcevic, but it's going to be a free kick to Brisbane by the looks of things. It'll go to Starcevic for a hold. Zane Bojak's on the boundary.
You guys were picking up when I was putting down?
Yeah, man. Pretty much.
Oh, you talk about Martin.
Come on, Jace.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking about that free kick.
Yeah. Starcevic has got it. Kicks to McStay unmarked. 55 out at centre half forward. His best kick makes this. He's a wonderful roost of the ball if he wants to go long, Dan McStay. He doesn't. He decides to chip it to the pocket. Fly from Rayner. Got a piece, couldn't mark. Roved by Doherty of Carlton. Rumbling kick to left half back. Stolen by Starcevic, who breaks a tackle. Rides a second, hands it to Hipwood. He's tackled over the boundary line by Silvani for a throw in.
They set up well behind the ball there, Brisbane. They've been doing that all day, but they've also found the easy, uncontested mark too. That's where they've been getting killed, Carlton.
Jason O'Kamanis with you on Grandstand AFL. Brisbane 13-11-89, Carlton 8-8-56.
Throwing across the arc there for Brisbane. Off hands. Mitch Robinson on the paint of 50, tackled by Setterfield. Now they both release the ball and the umpire will come in and ball it all up. There's a murmur around the crowd. There's a fairly sizable Blues element to this crowd of what looks like it will be over 30,000 as it comes off hands. Lockie Neal, handball back to Starcevic. 30-metre kick to the leader, Bailey. 45 out, very tight angle to the left. His left leg will be a couple of metres from the boundary line.
31,011. 3-1-0-1-1.
That's a good sized crowd here. Zach Bailey
going for number 5.
He's got 4 going for a bag. Pass. He just pops it up to the top of the square. Big fly through hands. McCarthy actually missed the ball, had a second crack. Picked up by Silvani in a goalkeeping effort. That would be proud of the Silvani name. It goes back now to Walsh and they extract it outside defensive 50.
Bit of run from defensive 50. A couple of bounces to the wing. Hand passes to Durden, who's out there. Hand pass to O'Brien. O'Brien kicks in field to centre half forward. Nunes takes the mark, 60 out. Chip inside 50 to Fisher. Takes the grab. Does he? No, free kick anyway. Late arriving fun on spoil from Berry. So Jack Martin indeed out with Durden getting a touch in that chain.
He pulled a heart muscle or something, did he, Jack? Well, he didn't look like he was injured, did he?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, Jace.
Very, very confusing. But that was better. Play on. Take a couple of bounces, overlap run, and bang. Zach is having a shot.
Well, this for 5 unanswered goals in the term for Carlton. Fisher trots over 50, hits it with his left boot from 45, and that's another Carlton goal. This is like the gas bottles run out of the barbecue and Carlton's turned up with some prime rib. Of absolutely no consequence to when the eating was done. 27 points the difference to Brisbane.
Still 9 minutes left here, and they're scoring at will at the moment. As you mentioned, Q, every time they're going inside 50, they're looking like scoring. Last two have gone coast to coast, which they haven't been able to do the whole game. So Brisbane's intensity, defensive intensity, and at the ball and at the man has dropped off.
Well, they've been playing on, and you could see that was a bit unlucky. The fresh area down the other end, and the turnover from McCarthy straight to Silvani, and then the quick kick out, and then of course Sam Walsh just plays on, and that just created the overlap run, and they get a shot on goal. Great goals there.
Here's the other side of it. 27 points the difference and 8 minutes and 45 seconds left.
Every chance, considering what Brisbane let go with Richmond last week, and it's a Carlton free kick. It's going to be in the middle. It's coming back now. It's going to go to Adam Chera. So time enough if good enough, as they say.
Lee Matthews likes that saying, doesn't he?
Chera now. That's a long bomb. Big pack. Mackay fisted away. Handball out to Motlop. Tackled by Coleman. Ball spills now. Coleman's got it. Motlop tackles him. The ball underneath him, the umpire says. We'll ball it up, 45 out. It is Carlton attacking, trailing by 27.
Matheson roves. Had half-back hand pass tapped on by McCarthy to Lyons, tackled but got his kick away and hits Danaher, who marks. Play on's the call. Danaher torpedoes from the centre circle to a vacant 50. It might roll to the goal mouth. It does, but Silvani's there to tap it through for a point.
Wow, what a torpedo.
28 points the difference at 13-12-90 to 9-8-62. Zane?
Jack Martin's out officially with an ankle.
There you go, an ankle, and the Lions' first score of the final term is a behind coming at the 19-minute mark. Now that's straight down the middle for Carlton, no mucking around, off hands. Danaher kicks it back to the top of the 50. McGovern can't control it. It bounces back to McCarthy. He chips it forward to a teammate, and that's Cameron in the pocket by himself. Takes the mark. He's feigning to go back in. No, he's not feigning. He kicked it back in, and it was not on because Chera read it. We all read it from a couple of metres out. Now it's loose in front of the goal square. Marchbank, the handball, very ordinary, but it reached its target. Goes back to now Silvani, who kicks it out even wider to go back to Marchbank. So Carlton will get out of this. It's a 28-point margin, and Charlie could have actually iced it for Brisbane, but now it's a 50-metre penalty for somebody's crossed into the zone. Caleb Marchbank will be marched all the way up to the logo, Stanley Street side.
Carlton with 5 unanswered goals. Marchbank with another entry for the Blues. Mackay flew, couldn't mark. Cottrell half a chance to rove. Didn't get it first time, gets it second. Hand pass out the back to Fisher. Gets on his preferred left. Snap from 40. 22 points the difference.
Dear,
6 in a row for the Blues. Fisher's got 2. 7 minutes and 7 seconds left. Surely Brisbane aren't that bad to give up a 57-point lead at three-quarter time and get done.
As we said,
there's 22 points the diff, and there's 7 minutes left, and they've got form of leading by 3 lengths at the furlong and fading badly.
Big time. They've got a heavy jockey on. They're the third worst defence in their last 6 weeks in the second half, and this is certainly showing here. Poor by Charlie Cameron. You just got to read the cue. Carlton got all the momentum. I've taken a shot. I'm a good snap. I'm a good finisher. I'm a goal kicker. That's what I get paid for. There wasn't anything on in the middle there. That was just a disastrous kick. Take your 30 seconds. Momentum out of the game. Kick the goal. It's a totally different ball game. Instead, Carlton go down the other end. Now she's game alive.
Not the smartest decision from Charlie Cameron, being a designated goal kicker as well.
6-6, a warning.
So there's been a warning go out there, and the umpire will throw this up.
McInerney versus De Koning. McInerney gets it down. It comes out in the favour of Brisbane. McCluggage struggles it forward. Now it's on the ground. Danaher picks it up. He's tackled immediately.
Good contest.
Thrown down by Patrick Cripps, still inside the centre square, but just forward of the centre circles. And there's 30 players around this ball. McInerney fists it forward. It goes to the arc of 50. Matheson explodes onto the ball. Handball back to Robinson on the left foot to the top of the square. Got separation from his opponent. Did Dan McStay. Sauce lost him in the traffic. McStay will have a shot directly in front.
The big O, beautiful. Just dominated, slap the ball forward, get momentum, get the ball surging your way.
I'm really liking Big Joey's second and third Evers tonight. You were saying before the game how poor he's been, but this has been good. But great mark from McStay.
McStay's got 2. Can close things down with his third, and he does. 14-12-96, the Lions steadying the ship. Carlton 10-8-68. We've now got a 28-point margin, 23 gone, final term. Zane Bojak's on the boundary.
Yeah, it's not often you see Chris Fagan really animated, but he was yelling at his support staff saying we've got to do something about this. And just after that, they got the mark, and all of a sudden they get the goal. So maybe that's going to just relax Chris a little bit. He's sucking on some water at the moment, but I tell you what, he's been sucking in the big ones as well. He's been really struggling on this bench.
They never relax, coaches. They're never happy. Where are you, Matty? You're never happy as a coach.
Well, no, not when you're giving up a 58-point lead and the other team's coming and you know your weakness is your second halves. But he would have been happy there with the midfielders winning that centre bounce, getting it forward and getting that goal to get back.
Stops a run of 6 for the Blues. 28 points the lead for Brisbane. Centre bounce to Koning over McInerney. Hands it down to Cripps. Hands to Walsh. Hands it through Fisher back to Walsh. Couldn't gather on the bounce. Neal got it. Hand pass defensively. Neal got pushed in the back by Silvani. Free kick. So Lockie Neal at half-back for Brisbane. And he's going to calmly slot it wide. Doesn't hit McInerney, though. Gathered it on the half-volley, turns over his hand pass, gave it straight to Fisher. Hands it to Cottrell, space on the flank. Kick inside 50, marked by Mackay. Leading out in front of Andrews. Right on 50.
Fisher going into the middle. We said it at half-time. This is the last quarter. He's finally thrown the magnets around Vossi, and it's working.
Harry Mackay. Yet to kick a goal today. Approaches, he's got one earlier this term, my apologies. Kicking for his second, that's right to the line and across for a point. So he's got 1-2 now. And 27 points the lead to Brisbane with 5 minutes and 20 seconds left.
Daniel Rich bringing the ball back in. Cam Rayner, right back pocket, takes the mark. There seems to be the spring in the step that was missing in the second and third quarters across Carlton's work rate. Is that the coach popping down to the bench to eyeball the players? Who knows? It's been an improved effort in the last quarter here from Carlton. Long kick down the line. Harris Andrews versus McGovern. Off the hands of Harris over the boundary line for a throw in.
Second half's underway in the West. Aaron Bryant.
Adelaide striking early as well, Quentin, through the Big Macs. McHenry and McAdam both on the board. They're now up by 10 after trailing by 2. Adelaide 9-2-56 to the Eagles, 7-4-46.
Thrown on the wing, De Koning taps down to Cripps. No chance to clear. He's tackled and wrapped up by McInerney. Brisbane leading by 57 points at three-quarter time, but Carlton kicking 6 unanswered goals to narrow it to 22. But a settler has the Lions back out by 27. Clearance on the wing for Carlton, though. Fisher's had quite the turn. With his right boot, puts a floater to attacking 50. Off hands, Walsh does the roving for Carlton. Got tackled by Rich. Umpire says no prior and a ball up.
Again, Zach Fisher, that leg speed, he's been vital in this last term. He's given a lot of impetus.
Get the ball up on the paint of 50 for Carlton. They're pressing again. Cottrell now. He just pops it up to the pocket. It's going to be a big fly. Mackay at the front. Durden rode beautifully. How's the smother from Darcy Gardner? Off the feet of Corey Durden and over the boundary line for a throw-in. We'll get another look at this on the replay. Jeez, that was a good smother from Darcy Gardner. 27 points the margin. Lions still leading this one. The throw-in. Short throw-in again. Tom De Koning gets his hands to it. At ground level, Durden on the boundary again. Wheels around on the right. Oh, beauty! You little beauty! That is a late highlight. Corey Durden with only his third disposal. He's popped in as the Medi sub for Jack Martin, has kicked one of the goals of the day. What a beauty. 14-12-96. Plays 11-9-75. 21 points the margin. 27 gone final term. There's still about 4 minutes left if you're a pure optimist.
We're still in lethal territory.
We're still in lethal territory.
Maths territory.
You wonder why. I mean, he's so
4 minutes
dangerous.
and 5 seconds.
Yeah, he's so dangerous to kick goals like that. You wonder why he wasn't in the team in the first place.
21 points the difference. This has been a bizarre old term of footy.
It's crazy. A lot of goals this term. I told you to open up, but geez, they really opened up. 6 goals.
Carlton kicked 7.
And what have Brisbane kicked a couple?
From 57 points at three-quarter time, now 21 the diff. Centre bounce clearance for the Herculean McInerney. Got it to half forward for Brisbane. McStay meets it, tackled immediately. I think it was Nunes, the tackler, locks him up. Yep, Jack Nunes with the clamp. Ball up, 55 from Brisbane's goal. De Koning wins that tap down, but Neal somehow kicks it out of the air for Brisbane. Silvani meets it, had it hacked away by McStay, but picked up by Walsh of Carlton. Hand pass out the back, creates space for Doherty. His chip is good, marked by Chera. Hand passes to the running Walsh. Off half back, runs to the wing, hands it to Cottrell. Cottrell looks forward. What's he got? He's got the 2 tall timbers deep. Kicks it long in the Mackay direction. Loses Andrews, couldn't mark right by Curnow. Kick to the goal mouth, man out the back. It's Owie. Marks, goals, despite the late attention of Berry. 15 points the difference. 3 minutes and 19 seconds left.
Wow, I think Jared Berry with the lunging tackle might have either cramped or just had a bit of an injury.
Carlton is about to challenge Ollie Hoare for the best finish of the day in sport, if they can get over the line here.
Exactly.
Let's give the score. Brisbane 14-12-96, Carlton 12-9-81. 15 the difference, 3 minutes and 19 seconds left.
They've just stopped, Q. Brisbane have stopped. Carlton are running all over them in waves. The only way they're winning the ball is by Big O being able to surge it forward. Apart from that, they are dominating all over the ground with their leg speed and run.
And the Blues brothers are up and about. Vossi was on the bench yelling and screaming and pointing to the card that he put up there, whatever that is, red time it looks like. Kitty Coleman's back on. This will be a ripper.
15 points the margin. 29 and a half gone final term on ABC Sport. What a game. McInerney, he gets it down. That's cut off by Lockneil. Handball to the runner, McCluggage. Handball now to Lyons. Attacked by Sard. He's kicked straight up in the air at the back of the pack. It's off hands of Danaher, the beast. And then Hipwood received the handball as Matheson burst through 2 tackles and kicked the goal that should ice the game. Eric Hipwood in the end, 15-12-102, plays 12-9-81, 21 points.
The Big O again, Matty Primus.
Yeah, the great centre bounce clearance. I just had the binoculars on Fags there, and they kicked the goal with his head down, walking around on the bench here. He would feel like it's going to be a win for Brisbane, I'm going to say, but he would feel like, geez, what is going on here with our second halves?
The shrug tackle from Matheson on McGovern, not great there either.
Oh, it's probably a free kick anyway, but great goal. Big O. He saved him when he's there. He dominated all day, all night now. But Carlton, haven't they come with a surge?
Eric Hipwood's first goal of the afternoon. And now it seems safe enough for the Lions. Centre of the ground. Here is Jared Lyons with a clearance. Rush the half forward. Danaher. Arm chop, no free kick. Rove by Neal. 55 out. Kicks to the pocket. One-on-one battle there between Young and also McStay. Got it to ground level. Cameron has a go. Can't pick up. Young for Carlton's hand pass. Went into Cameron. Kept it alive. Cameron hands it to McCarthy. Out the back to Matheson. Matheson slams it through from point blank. Hold on. What are we reviewing here?
What do you have to review that? Was his foot over the line?
Over the line, maybe.
You can't be serious. How can the umpire see that? He nearly got his head taken off.
Might be.
Oh.
We need a long jump official from the Alexander Stadium.
That's not sufficient evidence.
That's a goal. That ball has to be all the way across the line. All the way.
I don't know why we're going upstairs for this type of stuff when
that's a goal.
The goal ump was the closest there.
That's a goal.
Another chance for the locals to yell. Goal.
Staggering.
16-12, 108 to 12-9-81, out to 27 points.
But what about just in that pocket there? You saw the great Charlie Cameron just have it poised this time. Goes back inside to his great mate McCarthy, who of course unselfishly gave it over to Reese, who nearly ran too far, the buffhead, and missed the goal. Oh, fair dinkum.
Have you got any other words?
Oh, no, look, that was just another conundrum. Hey, look at that, though. How close is that? You know where the line is.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
He's looked at the goal umpire too, just in case.
Oh, dear.
Very funny. Good work, Reese. Just waste a minute of our life.
So what do we got left? 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Brisbane with the last 2 in the game after Carlton got within 15. Centre bounce. Cripps a chance for Carlton. Shrugged off his hand pass, stolen by McCarthy. Brisbane gives to Bailey. Kick deep to full forward. McStay outmarks Young one-on-one at the top of the goal mouth.
How did he do that? He was out of position. Young had him cold, and he somehow grabbed that, Matty. That's just
too strong for the young defender who's had a bit of a dirty day down there.
And Daniel McStay about to line up for his 4th goal.
Take your 30 seconds.
Take all of them.
Left foot snap punt from straight in front. Interesting. And he got it though. Kicks the goal. Now 33 the diff. Last 3 goals to Brisbane. 17-12, 114 to 12-9, 81. Just a reminder, the next 2 weeks look like this. Brisbane has an away trip to Docklands to play St Kilda before hosting Melbourne at the Gabba in the final round. Carlton has 2 MCG dates with the Demons and the Magpies.
Oh, that's hard. Hard couple of weeks coming up. But McStay, you haven't seen him kick straight, have you? So that round the body is not a bad option in his contract year. He's put his name up in lights today, though. Don't worry about that. I think there's no doubt the Big O's been the best player on the ground, closely followed by Zach Bailey, but good mark in his 4th goal. McStay.
So we're back into the middle. Umpire Williamson, just with a bounce that sort of favours McInerney, but Silvani put him off the kick. At ground level, the Big O goes back in, taps it to Neil, who dances around through traffic, and then laces out a kick to Cottrell for Carlton, unfortunately. Cottrell now goes to the outer wing, looking for Fisher. He versus Jared Lyons. Jared Lyons did beautifully, but Cripps came in and lent a little bit of assistance there to Fisher. The ball came off his hands, back into the arms of McInerney. He's tackled, and it's a bit messy on the outer side as we get a little bit of acquaintance there. Sam Walsh versus Reese Matheson. I know who I'd be putting my 20 cents on as it came through to Silvani. I reckon it'll be a draw just quietly. As a long kick inside 50, Harris Andrews with extendable arms just took a very relaxed, nonchalant defensive mark.
And time is ticking down. Brisbane will respond to its loss at the MCG in somewhat bizarre circumstances. I don't know whether they've instilled any more faith in the fans with this final term, or those broader assessing the challenges for the flag in 2022. But nonetheless, the numbers are going to look good. It's a 5+ goal lead late in the game as Brisbane from Danaher receiving the ball at left half back now look upfield and take their time.
I'm actually looking forward to hear how Matty Primus and Jason Ackermanis will pull this game apart, because it has been a little bit like a jigsaw puzzle.
Lions move it around the wing. Danaher short to Zorko. Zorko to McCluggage, who takes the mark. He's going to kick backwards, and the Lions are on the ice now, just icing this game, led by 57 points at 3/4 time. Carlton kicked 6 in a row and then 8 of the first 9 of the quarter to get within 15 points, but Brisbane has kicked the last 3 goals, and that's enough to send the locals into raptures. Brisbane's top 4 claims stay alive with a win against the Blues, who aren't quite locked into September just yet. 17-12, 114 beats 12-9, 81. The locals at the Gabba sing to the tune of a 33-point win.
We will always fight for victory.
33 points, the final margin, as Brisbane go to 14-6. Carlton 12-8, 2 weeks left. Lions away to the Saints, home to the Demons. Carlton at the MCG, both games for the D's next week, and the Pies in round 23. 4 goals to Zach Bailey, 4 goals to Daniel McStay, 2 goals to Charlie Cameron, and the rest for Brisbane are singles. Robinson, Berry, Neal, McCarthy, Zorko, Hipwood and Matheson. While for Carlton, 2 goals to Fisher, 2 goals to Curnow, and 2 goals to Motlop, and the singles to Cripps, Mackay, Durden, Martin, Nunes and Owies. Progression went like this: Brisbane by 29 at quarter time, by 35 at the half, by 57 at three-quarter time. Somehow it got back to 15 points in that final term, but in the end Brisbane winning by 33. Earlier today, Sydney by 38 over North Melbourne. The majority of you are going to go to the west and will pick up the call of the Eagles-Crows game, where the Crows are starting to get on top there, leading by 23 points. But our news radio audience is about to depart in Brisbane, unfortunately right up against the clock here. Thank you for your company, with Brisbane getting the job done over the Blues by 33 points. More coverage, of course, throughout the evening, available on the AFL app. We've got a quick swift movement to try and get to the west and a bit more footy action, but a chance for Jason Ackermanis and Matt Primus to wrap things up.
Who would you do your 3-2-1? I think it's pretty clear. It'll probably most likely be Brisbane players, but great last quarter, and I think they'll be pretty happy with that quarter, Vossi. But he threw the magnets around, he put some speed around the ball, but the Lions were able to get uncontested marks. They had their way all day. The Big O was enormous. If he wasn't the best player on the ground, I'll monkey's uncle fair dinkum. But just a dominant display both on offence and defence.
Yeah, no, well summed up, Acker. It was, the only thing they'll be worried about is the momentum, not being able to halt that momentum, because everyone has momentum. You can't stop it. But 2 or 3 goals you can cop, but 6 or 7, as Hugh were calling their cue in the last quarter, that's what's cost them the last 6 weeks. And you can see they tried to do a few things today. Danaher on the wing behind the ball and a few other things, but in that last quarter they weren't able to arrest that momentum at all.
Well, Brisbane has finished 3.2% outside the top 4.
Yep.
So Sydney's win today by 38 got them to 14 wins and 127.5. Brisbane is now 14 wins and 5th in 124.2. And the Blues, they stay on 48 premiership points. So let's take Richmond out of it. The Saints are now 1 game behind the Blues, but the Blues are 8% better. The Dogs are basically the same percentage. Well, Blues just a bit better than the Dogs. But anyway, they're still.
But you know what that means, though, Q?
What?
If they beat the Saints next week, Brisbane, that'll be a game for the top 4, the last spot in there, Brisbane versus Melbourne.
Well, no, it's an 8-point game, Carlton and St Kilda next week, essentially. That's the...
Oh, who are Brisbane playing?
Brisbane are playing...
I thought they were playing St
Kilda.
Oh, sorry. They
got St Kilda. So
apologies.
if they beat St Kilda, that last round, Melbourne will probably win next week, no doubt, but that'll be for the top 4 spot, surely.
Melbourne will win next week, no doubt. You reckon the Blues are in a bit of strife?
Yep.
I think so, yeah.
Against the top team.
If they showed that against Melbourne, that's going to get ugly.
We'll get your votes. Here's the numbers. For Brisbane, Neal 32, McCluggage 28, Matheson 24, 22 for Zorko and Berry. By the way, Bailey, to go with his 4 goals, had 19 possessions as well. For Carlton, Doherty 28, Walsh 27, Cripps 24, and a big question you'd suggest to be asked of the match review officer with his collision which sent Kalarchi from the field in the second term. Sard 24, Chera 22. Inside 50s was the big one all day. It finished 23 in Brisbane's favour at 69 to 46. 70 seconds for the votes, please, gentlemen.
Yes, well, with Big O 3.
Beautiful.
Bailey 2. 4 really important goals in that first half there. And look, their midfielders dominated, Carlton midfielders, but I thought McCluggage, he had 28, 7 inside 50s, had a shot on goal, 4 clearances, some good metres gained, 4 tackles. I thought he was probably the better out of a pretty good midfield mix for the Brisbane Lions.
You could throw the blanket over him.
Yep.
You really could. You could have picked Zorgo, be unlucky.
Yep.
Matheson.
Neal was
great.
Lions did a great job on Chris, but McCluggage for 1.
3 to McInerney, 2 to Bailey, 1 to McCluggage. Thank you, gentlemen.
No problem.
We'll reconvene in the near future. Brisbane by 33 points here, 17-12, 144 to Carlton's 12-9, 81. Just before we send you west in the National Rugby League today, both games have now been completed. Newcastle has defeated the West Tigers by 14 points to 10 after earlier today North Queensland beat Canterbury Bankstown 28 points to 14. Swans by 38 over North, Brisbane by 33 over Carlton, and as we take you to the west, it's Adelaide leading West Coast by 23 points as we take you to Clint Wheeldon and the team to pick up the final stages of the third term.